two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
God damn it, it screwed it up. Once again, Sarge, it never works when I want it to work. I want it to do this. I want it to be happy holidays. I want it to be happy holidays, happy Halloween. But no. It couldn't work.
I didn't know it was going to do that.
Oh, my God.
I waited. I waited. I was like, why is it repeating? What's going on?
Always do that. Surprise ruined. Well, if you can't tell who I am, I'm Spider-Man. And Sarge is an army guy, right? That's who we are?
I mean, sure.
I'm Batman, motherfuckers. That's who I am. That's right. Put the emotes in the chat. I'm Batman. Okay, so on today's show, Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Live Thursday editions, okay, where we... rant most of the time. On today's show,
I haven't ranted in weeks.
I think you have amnesia. I
I ranted in weeks.
So, Generation X Gaming, you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. Okay, this mask hurts my face, chat. Just to let you guys know, I'm doing this for you. Okay, my eyes are like it's like embedding into my skull. Okay. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Robert Downey Jr. Refuses to let Hollywood create AI digital stuff. We're going to talk about Path of Exile 2 Early Access. We're going to talk about Call of Duty. We're going to talk about the day before. We're going to talk about Microsoft gaming revenue. We're going to talk about the 20 video game franchises that Microsoft owns now that are all over $1 billion in franchise. Obviously, they didn't make it $1 billion franchise, but they own $1 billion $20 billion franchises. We're going to talk about Indiana Jones. We're going to talk about Sony closing down Concord Studio. We're going to talk about Ubisoft, confirmed a couple things for Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're going to talk about Rainbow Six. And we're going to talk about Wolverine, Marvel Wolverine. The director comes out, and Nightingale, the game, with a couple layoffs in their studio. So if you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you very much. What's going on, chat? My God, this hurts my face, Sarge. How you been? How's the week? I just saw you yesterday in person.
Yeah, I know you.
It's like a speed, like it was like a cannonball run trip.
Basically.
Shoot down Tuesday. Hang out with you for like 3 hours, go to sleep, wake up, do all the stuff, and then leave in the afternoon. I'm back home doing a show. Boom, done.
Yeah, I think when I purchased the stripes for the helmet, I didn't realize they were this big.
No.
But
do you still have? Do you still have the other helmet that made your head?
Oh, yeah, the first one, the little baby helmet.
It looked like your head was a penis. It looked like
yeah. Yeah.
We have an episode of that.
Yeah.
John says, "What the fuck are you guys wearing?" Well, he's wearing sunglasses, and I'm wearing headphones. I don't know what you're talking about. It's Halloween.
It's a military helmet.
Yeah,
it's Halloween.
It's pretty it's pretty self-explanatory what we're wearing.
If this is how chat's gonna start, it's not gonna go very far. Yeah. We already have the brains are twisted already.
Yeah, what's happening? There's bats above me.
The brains are twisted.
Come on, there's bats above me.
I like the background. The background.
Yeah, we do all the stops. Let me tell you something, Sarge. I have a surprise for you. And I have a surprise for chat. Okay? I worked hard on something today.
Wait, which surprise is this? Do I not know about this surprise?
Production value is going to rise through the roof today.
Oh,
okay.
All
right. We have a special guest making an appearance later, Mr. Pete Carson. Okay. And we've been singing music.
Not right.
Not right now.
Not right now.
We've been singing music, but I came up with the perfect song
for the segment.
For that segment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to debut it today on Halloween.
That's if the button works.
That's if the button works. That's correct. Yeah. That's right. If the button works. You all we're going to love this soundtrack that I've created today. Okay, with my help of AI. You're going to love it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Kuda Papa with the super chat of $5 says, chat, we have an intervention. 30 and Sarge have bought microtransactions in real life.
What did I buy? What did I buy?
I mean, I think
the
helmet, I think.
This I've
mask.
owned for a while. I
mean,
was looking for an actual memorabilia helmet for World War II.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's actually it. It's an actual helmet. It's legit.
That's right, Jones.
I
wrote the song. I did not make the music.
I bet I was gonna dress up as the Emperor. I have the giant robe.
Oh, that would have been
I was
good.
gonna sit in the chair. But then it would have just been, you would have seen just my mouth the whole show.
And
I would have talked like this.
I was going to be Batman, but inside the Iron Man suit is what I was going to do. I know you can't picture it, but I was going to be Bruce Wayne as Tony Stark inside of the Iron Man suit. But the camera broke, and we're just stuck with Batman.
Dude, that AI song for the Star Wars thing, and then I saw the one for the Marvel thing. Just,
oh, yeah.
I think what breaks my brain a little bit is the fact that I'm looking at those people and they don't exist.
No,
right?
those people are not
they
real.
They don't exist. Now, any other time you show me pictures of people, anime characters on the screen, like just animated characters, fine. But those people look real, and then to say to me afterwards, those people do not exist in this world,
right?
Makes my brain twist. It twists my brain.
Dolphin asks, "Is it the redneck Batman like other videos?" No. I made a video, or I made music for the segment of Pete Parson Carson. So there's no video. I haven't gone that far. I don't have that much time on my hands. Okay, maybe we can get something. Let's go to the first segment, Sarge, of what we've been playing. Chat, here's your warning. Wearing headphones. Pull those suckers out of your ears. Here it comes.
Loud.
It's loud. It's doing it again.
I'm worried. I'm worried about the segment. I'm worried.
All right.
I'm worried.
It's doing a loop. It's doing a loop. I don't know what's happening with the program today.
Is it open in two different?
No, it's possessed. Windows? It's Halloween.
Oh,
it's
is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
If I wasn't recovering, I would actually go out. I always go out on Halloween. I think
the Joker is messing with my equipment. I think that's what it is. My arch nemesis, the Joker, is fucking with the equipment tonight.
See, the problem with Halloween being on a Thursday, and I'll be completely honest with you, it's a really bad day, and I'll tell you why. Because you can never push the costume things past Halloween, so they always have to be beforehand.
Yeah, because if you push it afterwards, there's something wrong with you.
The night of all the costume contests and people going out dressed up in public happened this past weekend.
Yeah,
because that's when they'll have it, and so Halloween is so far from that.
Yeah,
that basically a Thursday Halloween is just for kids to go out for trick or treating, and no one's really going out dressed.
Let me tell you, it was pretty sad. I thought the show was going to start late because we went down to this area by us. It's like a little downtown area, and years ago, okay, before the close down of Earth, a couple years ago, every shop outside, it's an outdoor busy street, right? Every shop had buckets and people were outside and just like chucking candy and all the kids. It was awesome. Here we are 2 years removed from the world closing down. Okay. And we walk down there and there's 5 stores handing candy out, and it's sad. It was sad, Sarge. Right.
I bet.
Yeah. Because we don't live in a neighborhood, obviously. You know what I mean?
But you know what neighborhoods to go to. Come on, bro.
No,
you know where to drive, what neighborhoods.
Yeah. We know where to go get the large Snickers bars and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what neighborhoods to go to.
Yeah, but we didn't have time to go that far, right? The area around us, nah, it's a ghost town. We used to live in a condo. I was so excited. I used to like giving out candy, right? I used to like dressing up, scaring the kids that come to the door and stuff like that, right? We moved into a condo. I was like, man, this is great. All the kids are going to come around. We had one trick-or-treater our first year. We lived there 10 years. Guess how many more trick-or-treaters we had?
3?
0. We had 0 trick-or-treaters.
It's just sad.
So we just bought candy and we just ate it ourselves. That's depressing.
It's just sad.
That's depressing.
It's meant to be a neighborhood thing. It's meant to be meet the neighbors, see the kids. That's what it's for.
My son today maybe got 10 pieces of candy. I looked in his bag. I said, that is so pathetic. Right? Not in my head. I didn't say that out loud. Right? I said to him, I said, I used to get
garbage bag.
Pillowcases
garbage bag full of candy.
Okay. And then I have to come home, drop it off, and then go back out with another pillowcase because we had to hit up the other street. Like, we had a shit ton of candy. And then we had to spread it all out. And everyone knows you had to look for razor blades because people, for some reason, someone was shoving razor blades into stuff.
Yeah, unwrapped candy. Can't have any free stuff, loose stuff. Yeah.
And then when you got candy corn from certain houses, you know what you had to do.
Well, it wasn't candy corn; it was the pennies.
Yeah, whatever. You had to get the eggs, and you had to go outside, and you had to
remember the house. And you came back later.
You remember that house?
Yeah,
yeah. I remember you. I remember you.
And then Mom and Dad taught us about taxes.
That's right. You have to give Mom and Dad taxes.
That was always the fun part. She would take half my candy for taxes.
Yeah.
She'd make me divide it up, and then she'd pull half of it away and goes, "Well, this is taxes."
You ever notice the Milky Ways were always gone?
I think it's she
always took the Milky Ways. Yeah, always. And Twizzlers. Yeah, the Twizzlers always. That's the tax. That's the mom and dad tax right there. Chat, you guys dressed up right now? It'd be sad if you guys are dressed up right now just listening to us. Besides just sitting in your house, dressed up.
I mean, I like Halloween. I told you I'm usually out. I usually go out on Halloween just to go hang out. Have
crayons. Crayons. Who was given crayons? That must be a Midwestern thing.
Crayons.
Jesus Christ.
Kids don't even know how to read yet. You're giving them crayons.
Crayons. I've never gotten them.
Is it the fat ones? The 8-pack with those fat crayons for the special kids? That one?
What the crayons though? I can't imagine that. I just learned Sarge is an accountant. No,
my parents did that to me when I was a kid.
That's Sarge is not an accountant. That's how
he taught me about taxes. I'm being honest. I would have a giant pile of candy. We would go through it, pull out the ones that I wasn't allowed to have because there was something that looked like something was wrong with it. Because that's what you had to do.
We would have so much candy. We would have candy till next Halloween. I shit you not.
Until Easter. Usually till Easter.
That was past Easter. It was past Eastern. All right. What have you been playing, Sarge? What have you been playing?
Well, funny enough, mostly war games this last week.
I have not been playing Batman, so
yeah, I got full use of my left hand back, and so my fingers are actually working again properly. So I was playing Hell Let Loose for a few days. Company Heroes 3. It's a World War II session, I think, this past week.
You getting ready for the for what's happening next week? You're just playing a lot of war games just to get.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm getting ready for that. I'm ready for that regardless of what day. I don't need it to be that day for me to be ready. I'm ready. But I haven't played a lot of... Well, there was a few things on Game Pass I tried. Because I was looking at Game Pass. I just wanted to see what was going on in Game Pass. Thank God they got rid of The Sims and all 47 DLCs.
Like DLCs? Yeah.
Yeah, finally they got rid of them. And they put some other stuff on there.
There's a lot of I played a lot of independent games that they put on there in the last couple of weeks. Yeah,
I played a few indie games that are just interesting. I downloaded a car mechanic simulator, right? Because I wanted to see the inner workings of the car again. I like to fuck around with stuff like that when I get bored.
Right.
But when I'm playing two matches for Hell Let Loose, 3 matches for Company Heroes, and I was playing the Axis and Allies board game but against people for rank play. So basically it was like World War II week. Basically. I think I'm getting ready for Veterans Day, I think is what I'm getting ready for. I don't know. But
how big is the community, Sarge? Robert Jones asks, how big is the Hell Let Loose community?
How big? It's huge. They just got servers to work on console. So now people have their own servers. And for the first like I've been out of the loop now for almost 3 months. So when it first came out, they were a little rough, but they've ironed out the bugs and the glitches, and the servers actually work really well. I think the servers run about $60 a month, but if you have a loyal fan base that plays and contributes, that's like $2 a person for or $1 a person for a 100-man server. It's like nothing. But people now can run. They have a lot of options for the servers now. You can set what maps you're running, what kind of vehicles you want, if you can attack certain points so people don't do what they did back in the days of Battlefield where you pin somebody in their spawn. So they have a lot of options now. I was actually watching a couple matches casted by some of the veterans, not actual veterans, but veterans of the game. That's been out for a while,
I gotcha.
Right, and so
game veterans, not actual veterans.
Yeah, they're showing usually it's like 35 versus 35, but like the higher end groups have like actual 50 versus 50, which is insane. It's like you're like watching like a match. For some it could be boring, but like I know what's going on, so like I'm a strategic. Again, I'm gonna get the word wrong because I'm messed up in the brain. I'm a strategist, right? I enjoy those kind of things. So when they're playing on the maps, I'm looking where they are, trying to figure out. Yeah, a lot of strategy going on.
A lot of strategy. Who was that? Was that Bush? Bush said that, right?
Bush Jr.
Yeah,
Bush Jr. Yeah, the community. Like I said before, if they would just get their act together and want to improve the game to where it's supposed to be, like they're pretty damn close, especially on PC. If you play that game on PC, the community is huge. They're not bad at introducing new people, but what ends up happening is you'll have matches where you introduce people and you teach them how to play, but like the following match, you try not to get with those people again type of thing. But it's not like you don't get like the mother hen under the wing help you type of thing. But if you're in a squad with someone who doesn't know what's going on, we run through everything. Like, what do you want to know? What class you like? This is how you play it. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Like, I'll go through everything with whoever. But I just like the camaraderie of it because people that know how to play, you can always tell. And it always makes the matches more fun.
So I saw you play Skyrim when I was there.
I was playing Skyrim.
It looks good, I have to say. After all these years... And I asked you, I said, do you have any visual, like any visual, like
you can
mods? And you're like, no.
I didn't know, but you can.
Oh, I know, but when I was looking at the game, I was very surprised. I was like, wow, this still looks good.
I did not know there were actual graphical enhancements for the console, and there actually are. It makes it look amazing. Now, of course, the ones on PC is insane, right?
Oh yeah, the PC is completely different than console, but
like the last few DLCs that came out that are free, like still free, right? 9 new houses that you could have in a Skyrim that you have to find and do a quest for.
Yeah, you showed me that one that the guy had. There's like a huge story involved in
madness. Like that's a game. You know what I mean?
To this day,
that's a game. Right? People love it. They make stuff for it.
What was that, 2011, 2012, chat, when Skyrim came out?
11.
And then a Mass Effect came out in 2011 as well, right? It's like 2009, 2011.
It's, of course, Robert, it's a lot. I'll be honest with you. It's a lot easier. And, well, how do I say this correctly? To start on PC, it's easier to shoot because of the mouse and keyboard, right?
Oh, for Hell Let Loose?
Yeah, if you want to play it, like, listen, Black Friday's coming up. You know these games are going to be on sale. Like, you know these games are going to be on sale. Like, if you could pick up Hell Let Loose on a discount, I say try it. If you have a good enough PC, get it for PC. But it's good on console and it's crossplay, so you're playing against PlayStation and Xbox people. So, I think the PlayStation people have a little bit of an advantage, though, from what I understand. The Xbox and PlayStation both have this zoom feature for people who are elderly or have vision problems. But for the PlayStation version, you can actually activate it during Hell Let Loose. You can zoom in like really far, which gives you a super advantage over other people. Right. And sometimes you can always tell when they have it because you'll be like not moving in a hayfield somewhere and you'll get shot because they know you're there. Like, it's a little off-putting, but at the same time, I haven't been able to figure out how to get it to work properly on the Xbox version. But Squad, Arma, Hell Let Loose, it's just a good time. I like all the. I'll be honest with you. I like all the personalities that you hear when you're playing.
Oh yeah.
You have the role players, the serious people, the guys that don't give a fuck. There's just it's just fun. It's funny to listen to them.
Yeah,
some people role play
the
it.
very first day we ever got into Hell Let Loose, I got reamed out by a guy because I didn't know, but I was commander, and I didn't mean to be commander. I thought it worked as I thought I was commander of just my squad, and I was getting berated.
Oh yeah,
berated. Both me and Sarge didn't know what was going on, and we were like, "Calm down, man." I was like, "This is my first." I've been in the game for 30 seconds. He's like, "Oh, like." He was cursing.
The switch turned right away.
He was cursing me out, and I actually kind of liked it. He was talking dirty to me, and I was like, what's happening? I was like, all right, bro. I was like, calm down. I was like, I've been in here for 30 seconds. I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, oh, all right. Well, first you want to do is just get out of it. Like Sarge said, just the switch turned off. He went from berating me to, oh, okay, bro, just back out of there. Join this group. This is what you do. This is how you do this. And I was just like, all right, this is cool. I like the way this is working out now. Yeah. Right? It was amazing. That's when I fell in love with it. But at the same time, I just don't have enough time to dedicate to be with the group.
It's time factor. It has been time factor for a while.
Well, no, there's only one commander, Jones. There's one operator that runs the whole team. You drop like care packages and different things, give them reinforcements, call in things. All the people in each of the groups talk to me, and I was the leader, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was the first one in the. I was like, Sarge, there's people yelling at me. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's broken down just like the military. You have 5-man squads, right? One guy in the squad is the squad leader. He can hear everybody in his squad. Yeah. And he can hear every other squad leader. Not everybody,
right? Just
the squad leaders. And then
it's actually one of my favorite things about that game.
The commander can hear all the squad leaders, but he can't hear any of the regular soldiers. That's the command chat, right? Now, if you're in blue chat is like you just walking around talking to whoever is in range.
Yeah, open mic. Right? So it's like
bad
guys can hear you. Good guys can hear.
No bad guys can hear you.
No proximity chat. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. You are wrong.
I am not wrong.
100% wrong.
I am not wrong. You are wrong. I'm not. There's 3 different channels. There's blue where you only can talk to your squad. There's white that's open to everybody.
There's no trash talking. There's no open mic.
You can 100% hear the bad guys talk.
No.
Okay. And they must have changed it because when I was playing, 1,000%. When people were talking in the bushes, I could hear 100% it was them, and I came around the corner and shot them in the face.
Nope.
Yep.
Cannot hear the enemy team. Otherwise, there'd be trash talking.
Robert Jones says there is proximity chat. There is. It's like 10 feet when you're up against the other people when you're up close to them. 100%.
There's no. I'm playing that game all the time. There's no.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Sarge.
Not hear the enemy. Nobody trash talks. You cannot hear that. You hear other people who are team killing you, who are laughing.
No.
That kind of shit.
You can literally hear the other guys.
Okay.
In Hell Let Loose. Continue on.
That's it. That's what I've been playing for this week.
Okay, you can hear the bad guys. Let's see. Enemies should be able to hear proximity chat. Thank you very much. Yes, proximity chat, everyone can hear you.
Does not work. I'm telling you.
It does work, 100%.
Does not.
Okay, if you say so.
Does not.
They do. They will hear you 100%.
You're hearing your own people talk. It's
no,
not the enemy.
I was by myself, behind enemy lines. When I talk to my guys, on my channel, and when I get close to people, they're talking. You can 100% hear the bad guys talking if you're close to them. Yeah. Does support proximity chat, but voice chat features, however, it's strictly limited to friendly units. This means you can talk with the platoon even if the enemy is hiding nearby. You can 100% hear the bad guys talk.
Nope. But okay.
All right. Well, I've been playing some what's it called? TGC card simulator, shop simulator, and I'm doing a playthrough on our other channel, 30 and Still Gaming. Okay. And in that playthrough, I'm doing a bougie shop where I'm only selling individual cards, and running tables.
Single cards.
Just single cards.
Just single cards.
Yeah, just single cards. I started off with just one little display case, and I'm just selling display cards. So each episode starts off with me opening 2 boxes of 64 packs each, and I try to stock for the day, and I try to get big cards, and then I put them out there, and then by the midday, by like noon in game, which is like 2 hours, 3 hours within, I've already sold out of the big cards. And I'm selling like $5 cards, $4 cards, $3 cards, and you have to keep up on it. You have to keep filling it, because if there's nothing there, then you're not making money, right? So then I subsidize it with the table play, right? So now I have 6 tables in there in day 7. I have 7 days recorded. I think we're on day 5 or 6. That's I think tomorrow, day 7 airs, and so yeah, I'm just trying to expand the shop and try to. And I don't know if this is cheating. Let me ask you, Sarge. Right? I don't want to sell packs, right? I just want to sell individual cards. Do you think this is breaking? I mean, I make the rules, but I even asked the people watching the video, if I sell the stank spray and the covers, the little sheets for the cards, right? Is that okay or no? I'm just selling the cards, right? Because
what's the question?
Well, my question is, I'm just selling the cards in the shop. That's it, right? And tables. But if I don't have anything on the walls to sell, like I'm not selling anything else, nothing, right? So would it be bad if I start selling spray and start selling the
You're working off the premise of just pure profit. When you open up individual cards, it's whatever the card is. You're running pure profit.
Yeah, 100% profit.
So I don't know what the spray's got to do with anything. If you're trying to make as much money as possible,
well, because sometimes
the game has
depends.
an algorithm. The game has the algorithm where a person comes in, and based on what you have and the cleanliness of the store, that it'll buy certain amount of things. If you want to make a bougie store, I'm sure you're doing well, but the algorithm is letting the people spend a certain amount of money. But if all you have is individual cards, the algorithm's going to say he'll buy a card, but he might have bought a bunch of other stuff too, but you don't have it.
Well, no, they just did an update where the people that play on the tables will buy individual cards now, right? So that was an update that just did, like, I think last week or right before I did my playthrough. But the problem is, if you don't get one of those big cards, like I opened up 64 packs and got nothing. I think my highest card was like $40, right? So I didn't get a big card of like $200, $300, right? Which helps you big time. If I don't get one of those and I just get the small cards, it's rough, man. I cannot make any money because I'm selling $5, $6 here and there, and I'm only selling 17 cards a day. Okay, I'm only selling 17 cards because they come in. So the tables are taking half of the pressure away because they're making about $200-$300 a day, but the rest of the money is coming just from single cards.
Yeah, I think you're missing out on money because the way the game is made, that if you have a specific store, like a setup, and it smells nice or whatever else, they'll spend, the certain characters spend more money. Just like you have the random guy comes in and buys like 27 packs for no reason, right? But he's a rarity. He comes in every so often.
Yeah, day 4, I had a guy come in and buy the $330 card that was sitting there for 2 days. Right, save the shop because then I took that money and expanded and bought another table. Right.
Yeah, I think that game's based off of algorithms that say how your store is set up and what's in it. Like you might not make a lot, like the dice and things. Certain people buy dice, certain people but that's why when you have a small store, you're just supposed to make a bare minimum and just get people in and out.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing so far. I made it back to $1,000 for 2 days. So I'm selling my stuff, but now I'm at the point where I can't put anything else in the store. We're maxed out for the size we are, and for the furniture we have. We have 3 display cases.
So at that point, you have to start fine tuning.
Right. Well, I have to
what your floor space is. That's how it works.
Well, right. Well, everything's smashed in there, but now I have to start expanding the store outward. Right, and it costs like $400 for the first expansion, then $500, then $600, I think, something like that. That could be Jones, where they in the private servers they could do that, perhaps. I know I'm not crazy. They could have changed it. I haven't played in over a year, so they could have 100% changed it. But before it was proximity chat
there's no shit talking. I'm telling you, there's been no shit talking. Otherwise, there'd be shit talking all day.
Well, no, the proximity chat's not like fucking. You can't hear it forever, right? It's really short. It's like literally like 5 meters.
Blue
whatever
chat
it
is 25 meters. I know what it is.
Correct. The blue chat. Yeah. What I'm saying for the enemies, you're not that close to people when you're that. Like you have to get in the middle of the battle to start talking to people like that. When you're behind enemy lines and you're in bushes, you could 100% hear people go, all right, we're going over this way. And then I use blue chat and I'm like, they're over here, guys, in the south side over by the fence. Copy that. And they come running over and then start murdering people. Yeah.
It's a big fat no.
Okay. Sarge says proximity chat doesn't work. Well, you know. All right. So, yeah, I've been playing TCG. Been playing some Call of Duty, Black Ops. I'm enjoying myself. I've done about 6 missions, about 6 hours inside the game. They have like an open world section, Sarge. I like it, but I don't like it. It feels good to shoot. It feels good to snipe. It feels good for that stuff. But then there was this section. A lot of people like it. It's the zombie section. Now, I've never played a Black Ops. I've never played a Black Ops Call of Duty game. Okay. The last Call of Duty game I played was Modern Warfare 2, 2009. Last campaign I played. Okay. This is the first campaign I played in 14 years. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Okay. It's like a light RPG type of thing. It has an open world section. There's some mechanics in there that you're like, why? Like, for instance, if I get injured and you find armor on the ground, you have to go up to the armor and press X. And I was like, this is stupid. If I need armor, just pick it up, right? 2 hours later in the game, I upgraded my gear, and it says, would you like to unlock the automatic pickup on armor? I was like, this is fucking stupid. I was like, that should be normal, right? I'm dying. There's a med pack on the ground. You'd be like, do you want to pick it up? Of course I want to pick it up. Like, why would it be an option of me not picking up a health? It's not like if I have 50% less health, I get more damage. There's none of that. It's just I'm about to die. I need health. Pick the thing up.
Yeah, I don't respond well to that at all. It reminds me of the red reticule dollar or the horse armor. It's just something that should never be there. It's just when you give somebody an option that's a given in most games 1,000 years before that point, and then you have to wait to upgrade your gear to get that option. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, but the progression doesn't feel right, Jones. Right? Now, there is a section. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. People like it.
Oh, please
okay?
Ruin it. Yeah.
But I don't. I play war games for war, right? Not for horror effects or stuff like that, right?
Is it a soap opera?
No. It's there's zombies in the Black Ops stuff, right?
There's zombies in every Call of Duty. You're not telling me anything new.
No. Modern Warfare 2, there was no zombies.
Modern Warfare 2, bro. That's before the age of
No,
the
I understand
zombie.
that. But that's the last time I played. But this is what I'm saying, right? So I haven't played a Call of Duty in 14 years for a campaign. So when I got to that, when I got to that section, I was like, I get it. It's cool. I did like the boss fights. The boss fights were interesting. There's like 4 sections and 4 different bosses and stuff like that. It was a very interesting section, but I wasn't a fan of it, but I was a fan of, doing it, but I wouldn't like do it again. You know what I mean? Like, it was fun doing it, but I don't like that type of stuff.
Well, I wait a week usually before I start looking at the numbers, but I hear it's doing very well.
Yeah, we have some stories about that. Yeah, it's supposedly doing very well, but no numbers.
No
hypothetical numbers.
No numbers.
No,
they're
numbers.
Not bragging.
Well, they're saying it's the largest ever, but they don't tell you what the numbers are.
On even days,
we can talk about Steam. Steam's numbers are like almost 400,000, but
yeah, it's doing well.
Yeah, but we don't know what's selling. Is what I'm saying.
Well, we know it's selling on the consoles that need to buy it, and the ones you don't need to buy it, you're just playing it. We know that.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying that. We'll probably play that tomorrow for the member stream tomorrow. I think we'll finish it out tomorrow, and then I probably won't touch it again. People are asking, though, Sarge, that you download it because it's on Game Pass, and we play the zombie mode because they say the zombie mode is good in the game. They say it feels like Left 4 Dead. So if you want to do that on a Wednesday, we could probably do that on a Wednesday.
Maybe.
Look at Sarge's face. He's like,
maybe.
Right.
Listen, once again, sometimes the like I hear the line in my head from Lord of the Rings, like the age of elves is done and the age of man begins. right?
Age of Aquarius begins.
Like that's what I hear in my head. Like the age of these games that from the past, like to me, they're done. Like I understand what they are. I understand the IP. I understand what made them so great. I had a lot of copies of them back in the day, but it's like I don't care. I don't care anymore, right? I watch the reviews. I watch a guy play it. It's just check boxes, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Is it fun? Click. Does it have zombies? Click. Do I get to collect a bunch of things for my weapons? Click. Like I get it. I get it.
It's very satisfying when you get a headshot, though. It is very satisfying when you get a headshot.
Well, here's my point. It better be.
Yeah.
It better be
Yeah,
impactful when I get a headshot.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
when you shoot the gun,
when you shoot the gun, 25% of the game,
and you get a headshot, it goes in like this like little slow motion. It's like and every time you hit a body shot, you hear the
thud noise. Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that noise.
I'll give it to them over the years.
Very satisfying.
The sounds of the bullets hitting people's bodies have actually gotten a little bit more realistic, so it's a little bit more impactful when you play the game. Same thing in the other first-person shooters. Like when you hit somebody, when there's no hit marker, like in Hell Let Loose or like one of the Arma, those games, when you don't see a hit marker, you're just listening for thud noises.
Yeah.
To know if you hit somebody or not.
Well, that's just like in Hell Let Loose when you get a headshot, you hear ding. You hear that little.
They give you the ding.
The little ding.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's satisfying, especially when you're the sniper. Absolutely.
As a small little red annotation or whatever that comes on the screen to let you know you got a hit as well. Or no, it's just sound, right? In Hell Let Loose, it's just sound. It's just a thud if you hit the body. It's a ding if you hit the if you hit the helmet.
There was a patch early on where they put this big red splotch on there. Yeah,
that's what I remember.
For like a death, but like people are like, we don't want to see that shit because it gives away that if the guy is dead or not. Right. Like if you hit somebody, that's
you don't know if they're dead.
You don't know if they're dead.
If you hear that ding, though, if you know that ding,
if you hear the ding,
yeah, you know they're dead. Yeah.
But you don't know if they're dead when you hear the thud. So you have to make an assumption whether or not I can move closer, move to where I want to go, or now we're playing who's healing in the bushes, waiting for me to move.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of that game is positioning and patience. I'll be completely honest. If you try to run and gun in that game, you're dead. You're done. You have to have patience.
It's run, get to a spot, and then wait to see who makes the moves.
The easy way I tell people who are new, everybody gets mad. They're like, I just ran 1,000 miles and then I got shot. I'm like, that's correct, because you were running for 1,000 miles, you got shot. The rule in that game is you run for 5 seconds and you wait 10. That's how it has to be. You're looking for movement. Yeah. It's not you don't have lanes. Let me be very clear.
Yeah, there's no lanes.
There's no 3 lanes in some games, right? You don't have the 3 lanes.
Wide open.
You have open fields with trenches and hedgerows and things. So you have to, if I want to get from A to B, how do I get there? Right? Sure enough.
Sweet time.
Right. Sure enough, the monkeys are always running in the open field. Like, why am I dead? I don't know. There's a sniper sitting somewhere on the other side laughing, watching you guys cross an open field. Like, if that's how you would actually play in real life, you'd be dead in a day.
Yeah. I have 2 good moments in tanks in 2 games. Battlefield 5, me and you were in a tank, and we had our squad hanging around us, and we were just destroying everything. We never died. And then there was that, I don't know if I have footage of it. We played a couple years ago in Hell Let Loose. You, me, I forget who the 3rd person was in the tank, and then we had a 4th rando. He came into our tank. It was like, this is the best tank we've ever been in. Like, we were just owning everybody. We never lost a tank. We never blew up, right? We every time we got damaged, we backed up. We fixed it, get back in the thing, supporting the whole entire crew. It was awesome. I think we ended up with like 108 kills or something like that.
I used to love COD, like love it. I loved it for the campaign, and I was always interested in playing the multiplayer. But when it became copy pasta, it's okay. Listen, I'm glad it's doing well, right? What I'm looking for now is I want to see how they're going to spin the actual goodness of the game's release, that it's doing well. How are they going to spin it bad because Game Pass? You know what I mean?
They're already doing that.
I don't see how this game can actually fail, because the people that want it are going to get it. And that population is at least 25 million, right?
Yeah.
And so if you give more people options to play the game, I don't remember, is it crossplay? Is it crossplay or
it's
is it
crossplay.
not?
Yep, it's crossplay.
Because if it's crossplay, that's beautiful for everybody.
Yeah, it's crossplay. Yeah, Krebsy, if I got to play one of the soda tanks where the guys built that thing in real life, have you seen that, Sarge?
Which one?
Did you see the video of the guys that created a tank in real life, like for video games, and they load 2-liter bottles into the machine, and when it shoots, it like pops out the soda. Have you seen this?
Is this something we're gonna watch on stream, or we're gonna watch?
No,
it
we
after the
can.
show?
We can. Krebsy, send me that link again, please, if you
Like,
can.
somebody's shooting Coke bottles at people.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's amazing. The guys, one's a driver, one's the scout, and the other guy's the loader, and he's shoving 2-liter bottles into a tube, and they have this mechanical arm that when the guy shoots, it fires the spring.
Is he shaking it up? Is it firing?
No. It's just to feel
Like a
like you're actually
seltzer bottle?
loading. It feels like you're loading it, and it sensors the thing, and that's the
Like
actual.
you're shooting 2-liter bottles at people.
No, you're not understanding. It's a video game. It's the video game. They're simulating the actual feel of actually loading and shooting, and they're inside a tank. Okay, it's amazing. Hold on, we'll get it up.
I
for
mean,
you.
I was in a tank that fired tennis balls. I like that one.
Yeah, no. This is completely different. That's like American Gladiators on a tank. This is like
it was
you're
still
in a
fun.
tank.
But it was still fun.
Yeah, it's a realism sim gone to 11. It's amazing. Is it the wrong one? Okay, I'll wait for you.
So, but it's a video game.
They hooked it up to World of Tanks. Yeah.
It's a tank simulator, but they hooked it up to World of Tanks.
Yes.
So, like the guy that made the cockpit of an airplane inside of his house, like that kind of thing.
This is crank it up to an 11.
Crank it up to an 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. Once Krebsy gets that, we'll do that. While we're waiting for that, let's go to the next. Oh, there it is. All right. Let me get that.
I mean, I used to fire bottle rockets and 2-ounce rockets and Saturn missile launchers at each other. So I could see how people could make a tank and drive it around shooting soda bottles at people. I could see that. I'm sure you got arrested, but I could see it.
I don't know if I can get the sound to work on this because the way it's set up. Let me see.
My favorite thing of all time as a kid. Speaking of rockets, right? If you know the size of a Saturn missile launcher, right? There's the small ones, a 25 shot, and then there's a 50 shot, right? The 50 shot is perfectly sized that you can actually fit I think it's 8 of them in a shoebox. And so what I did was I put 8 of them in a shoebox and I tied the wicks together, and I had the wick sticking out the bottom of the box, and I had taped it to the front of my bicycle. And so I was riding around and I used to light it. And so 8 times 50 is like 400 shots. And so I'm just driving around on my bike with
bottle rockets. Yep.
Like just Saturn missile launchers for like 5 minutes.
All right.
Chasing people down the street. Usually it was during Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween.
I want you to watch this.
Like,
okay.
dressed as the Grim Reaper, shooting rockets at people. I was a bad kid.
Okay, so this is like in a warehouse or a house. They built a tank, as you can see. Okay, it's out of plywood. They have speaker systems with subwoofers to get the vibration and whatnot. Okay, so here you go.
A Chinese person with
Can you hear that?
named Blyant built a full-scale tank at home to play World of Tanks. Inside, there are 2 monitors and a cannon, and the game requires a full crew. Now that's what you call full immersion.
What? You can die. Let me come back and flip you in the head. You'd be dead.
Can I just say, I would be playing this every single night. My wife would not see me.
What the fuck, bro?
Where's your husband? Oh, he's shooting tanks out in the backyard.
Okay, so does the full soda bottle just fall onto the floor?
Yeah, it operates like a shell in a tank. So the subwoofers and that vibration of the shake of the camera is actually happening when they're playing the game. So they're in there, and when they shoot the fucking gun, it feels like the turret shooting. It's amazing. Here, keep watching.
Gamers go.
They got the shells on the.
There's like dust falling on top of them. I'm like, what? What?
Oh man!
What the hell, dude? How is he? How is he?
He's like, hold on, we got a jam. There it goes.
What is going on in that house, bro? Does he not even keep his car in the garage because he's got his tank hooked
I have
up
no
inside
idea,
his garage?
But I don't know. That's screw up to 11. That's up to 1,000, right?
Dude,
Like
gamers gonna game, bro. I love the passion that gamers have.
I want a warehouse of those things, an all-out battle of tanks. That is a business model right there, right? Rent a tank for an hour.
Liability up the wazoo. Do you see how fast that thing comes back? Concussion, bro.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you, Krebsy, for finding that and sharing that with us. All right, let's go to
right. Your wife thinks you're cheating on him, but really, what you want to do?
Really,
just play Tank Wars.
Yeah, you're just playing Tank
Wars. That's how
Wars.
that goes.
My husband's never here. He's got to be cheating on me with some hot girl. Meanwhile, cut to him. He's like, bah! He's like, yeah. Yeah. He's not doing anything. Like, he's just loving life.
Right,
he's just blowing up.
He's just playing a tank game.
Blowing up tanks in the backyard.
Why don't you want to spend any time with me? Can you load a cannon? If you can load a cannon, I'll bring you with me. Otherwise, just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Every time some guy wants to have fun, someone's got to come yapping around.
Just ruin everything. I want to go see a play. Nah, I want to go blow up some tanks with my friends. That's what it is. My husband got drafted.
Carol's in the garage.
He's in the garage. Yeah. Oh man, how many tours have you had? I've had 6 tours in the garage. Oh man, Roadkill member for 5 months. What's going on, man? 5 months, time flies by. Thank you very much for the continued support. I appreciate that.
The worst I can see is the wife's like, I can't even put my fucking car in the garage because he's got this made up tank in there with his friends.
Hey, I just noticed you guys moved in a couple months ago. You have a 2-car garage. How come you're always parking outside? Let me show you.
let me show you what my psychotic husband's doing.
No, right, the next door neighbor husband comes over, starts yelling, I see you keep parking in the street. Why don't you park in your garage? And you're like,
and then you have to show it to him. He's like, this is badass.
Does anybody know about this?
Right. Then you have strange men coming to your house because they want to play the tank game. That's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, does anybody know about this?
Exactly what would happen. Like all of a sudden, all the men in the neighborhood come over to your house.
Then he goes back to the house,
disappearing on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, he goes back to the house, talks to his wife. I talked to the neighbor. It's fine. I talked to him. You know what? Tom's a pretty good guy. I think I'm going to start hanging out with him. Oh, okay. If that's what you think. 2 months later, I haven't seen you. Where are you? Why are you always at Tom's? What are you guys doing over there?
Gunner. Some people have bowling leagues. Some people have World of Tanks night.
That's the way it should work. Roadkill, thank you very much for the gifted membership, man. Appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. Oh my god, dude. That's the way it should be.
I love the passion of people gaming, man.
Can you imagine the neighbors hearing the sound of what's going on in that garage? Boom!
Well, that depends. Is the sound effect only
the speakers
into the tank?
No, the speakers are on the outside to make the rumble.
Outside of the tank?
Yeah.
Just psychotic, man.
That's fantastic. I'm jealous. I'll be honest. I'm jealous. All right. Let's
time, by the way. You don't just knock out a tank shell and like a tank body in like a weekend.
Do you know how it all started though, right? Guys drinking a 2-liter bottle and they're talking about World of Tanks and he's just drinking a 2-liter bottle and it's empty and he throws it and he's like, wait a minute.
That's how the conversation started.
He's like, what about if we use this? They're like, what? What do you mean? He's like, what about if we use this as the shell? We put water in to get the weight. It feels like the thing. And we load it into a can and we shoot it. And they're like, all right, I hear what you're saying. We can have a a mechanism where it shoots out. Yeah, we put the cockpit. It all started with like pillows on the ground. And then all of a sudden, a couple months later.
Yeah, so I'm guessing they
full-fledged tank.
They had to buy a compressor and a compressed air tank. They had to.
Something.
They had to.
Dust particles happening in there. We're like, what the? Like smoke and particles.
when I saw the guy for the flight sim, the full plane cockpit in his house, I'm like, I know you're single. Like it's fine.
The girl comes over. Yeah, the girl comes over and goes, "Oh, that's so nice."
No, it's
yeah,
fine.
that's fine. We don't care.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
"It's not you. It's
I would
me.
like a couch. I would like a couch. Can we have a couch?"
It's not you. It's me. You know damn well that's not true. I know it's me. I got a cockpit in my house for a Boeing 737. You can't give me the "it's not me." It's not you. It's me.
Have you guys seen this?
You know it's me.
Have you guys seen this flight sim cockpit? Let me bring this up.
I love people like that. That's the best, man.
Yeah, this is some good stuff. This is what I picture Akuta Papa has in his house because he flies planes. I figure this is what he has in his house.
Well, if he's not, he's working up to it.
Let me find. This is not the guy. Where's the guy?
Aku definitely is working up to that.
I need the guy. No, he built. Here it is. Here it is. Oh no, this is it. This is not it. This is not the guy. There's another guy that built the entire cockpit. Here it is. Okay, hold on.
My eyes are wigging out.
So in full trade heavy, first runway you'll cross is runway 4.
Okay.
We are holding position.
Did he go steal stuff like out of a junkyard somewhere? An airline?
This is not being filmed inside an actual plane, by the way. This is in some guy's house, apartment. You think he's single?
If somebody says to me it's not you, it's me, I know it's me. You don't even have to say that. I got a fucking airplane in my house.
1289, push your discretion, slot 5 alpha. Okay, cleared push 5 alpha. United 860 heavy.
And the switches actually, this is
Everything
the
works.
part.
Everything
works.
Yeah.
Everything works. It's not you just flicking a switch. It's the actual switch that you need to flick.
This is taking gaming. So this is not a hobbyist. This is an airline pilot.
Yeah, we'll let them know. They prefer not to get jet black, but yeah, we push 2 planes in these alleys all the time. So
this is insane.
If you want to get delayed or whatever.
This is beautiful. I know what you're talking about. This is magical.
Okay, great.
Absolutely magical.
He's even got the chatter of the stuff. Here, I'll fast forward a little bit.
Absolutely
He taxis and everything. Taxis, gets pulled out, gets clearance, goes into the. Okay. Does the takeoff. Like, this is insane. Not insane in a bad way. Like, I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you could build something like this. And
I'm telling you, man.
I love that people have the passion like this, like the people that built the tank, like the people that are building, full plane in their living room. All right, imagine like the immersion. Like you're not thinking you're flying a plane. You're literally flying a plane. Like you are in the plane. You are a pilot at this point.
It's incredible.
Like we're.
We used to just put a refrigerator box in front of the TV when we played.
That's it. That's all we did. We put a big, giant refrigerator box in front of the television set.
We put a box in front of the television and we sat inside the box like we were flying a plane. This is the same thing. This is just the adult version of that.
Sure, yeah. So that's the insane version of of what you all want to do with if it's a driving sim, if it's a flying sim, if it's a tank sim, like next level. The guys who do the truck driving stuff, just as incredible. I mean, obviously less buttons and whatnot, but yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of buttons in one of those tractor trailers, man.
Oh, right. Yeah, all the switches work. All the stuff works inside the thing. It's absolutely nuts. All right, let's get to the top stories. All right, Sarge, we're going to start off with Robert Downey Jr. Basically, he's tired. Or not tired. He doesn't want to lose his likeness to AI, okay? So Robert Downey Jr. refuses to let Hollywood create his AI digital replica, okay, and intends to sue all future executives who recreate my likeness, okay?
Good.
And
Good.
Obviously, yeah, right? So there's people like Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, right? Star Wars, they signed their likeness away to Lucas to make toys and use their stuff, use their likeness in other movies and what's on and so forth. Even so, when they recreated Carrie Fisher's character in it was Rogue One, right? It was Rogue One where they created it. Yeah, I believe it was Rogue One. So her as young Princess Leia, which is absolutely insane. Like you look at some of the technology we have, and you were talking about it earlier with the AI programs about making the redneck Star Wars and the redneck Marvels and the redneck Harry Potter and stuff like that. Those people don't exist. They just make them. But now they can actually make them so realistic, like they can take actual real people and make them. And they're already doing that to Joe Rogan. They're already doing that to Joe Biden. Lots of Joes. They're doing that to YouTube commentary guys where they're making them and pretending they're endorsing certain things. So Robert Downey Jr. comes out and says, yeah, I will sue anybody. And one of the reporter says, well, you'll be dead by that time. He says, yeah, but my lawyers won't be. Like my law firm won't be. So they'll continue my name and estate, my family. Awesome. Yeah. So awesome. it is pretty scary, right? Because he might be being facetious or not saying he's going to sue him all, or he could be dead serious. But my point is that in this day and age, I said the other day when I was talking about this, I said, I pretend like in Florida, every body of water has a gator. And then I just assume it has a gator, okay? And then I see if it has a gator, right? Anything I see on the internet, right? Picture, video, voice, audio, whatever, I automatically assume it's fake, like replica, something's wrong with it in some way, shape, or form, it's not real. And then I work backwards the same way and be like, oh, no, it is real, right? You can't believe anything you see anymore on the internet. The lines are being blurred faster and faster every single day, right?
Listen, if you just do the basic equation here, if I take celebrities who are passed on, who I want to act, and I also have AI, and I also have robots, how close are we to Westworld?
I think closer than you think. Yeah, no, I think closer than you think.
How close are we to Westworld? We're not that far.
No, I would say we're about
50
10,
years.
No, I think less than that. I was going to say about 10 to 15 years.
Well, 50 after all the wars and stuff, and everyone agrees.
Right. Waterbear says it's kind of funny that the Iron Man doesn't want to lose his likeness to AI. Well, he doesn't want Robert Downey Jr., not so much Tony Stark. Like, he doesn't want to be in a movie
using his likeness when he's not around.
Yeah.
You don't listen, Hollywood will do whatever it takes to save money in order to make more money. Right? I'm glad. I hope his law firm sues him. Like, I hope it's a running gag. Like, after he passes away, we're old. We hear, yeah, did you hear? Robert Downey's lawyers are suing somebody else again, trying to use his face. It's hilarious.
Well, just look at Indiana Jones, which we have a story about later, right? Harrison Ford is the Indiana Jones, right? He is Indiana Jones. Like, if you make a video game of Indiana Jones, we said it before they even showed it. I said, I don't know how it's going to work if they're going to... I was like, they have to use his face. He is Indiana Jones, right? So Troy Baker is his voice, but Harrison Ford's face is in that game, right? His likeness is Indiana Jones. He sold it to Lucasfilm, LucasArts, okay? So they have to keep it. So if Harrison Ford, God rest his soul, if he leaves us, okay, then they'll continue to use Indiana Jones and just use someone else's voice over his face because he signed his life away.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what they want.
That's what Robert Downey Jr. doesn't want.
They want access to make money forever. That's what they want.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and the only way Indiana Jones can get away from that is if they rebooted it. They would have to reboot it or give it to someone else, his son, the next adventures of Indiana Jones, where they get away from Harrison Ford's character and they start a brand new character. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, it can be done anytime they want. They just can't market it. They can't market it yet. They don't have somebody likable enough in Hollywood that they could see being put in that position. Like for instance, like right now, right? I know it's not a story in the public eye right now, but it is, right? Who's the next James Bond?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Right? They don't know. They don't
Right.
have somebody that can be the next James Bond, right? It's been a while, man. They don't have somebody. There's not somebody in Hollywood currently who's worked or in the wings someplace that fits the bill for James Bond. Like, as we were getting older and they were switching over James Bonds, everybody had it in mind. Like, who do you think the next James Bond is? And we got like 2 or 3 guys. Like, we know who's going to be. It's one of these guys here, right? That's not happening right now. There is no one. There is no one.
Right. Yeah. So I'm for stuff like this because it's easy for people to use, especially nowadays. Just wait till you hear the song later, guys. Okay, where people can just make stuff out of thin air. Right?
It's almost scary at this point.
It's very scary. It's very scary. All right. So we'll remove that. The next one is Path of Exile. Path of Exile 2. Okay. I don't really think this is a big deal. I actually think this is better off than what it's first of all, it's early access. It's not the actual full game. It's the full game comes out sometime next year. Okay. But Path of Exile 2, the director came out and came to Twitter and said he seemed very upset because he wants to get a good product. People love Path of Exile, right? Path of Exile is a free-to-play game. People are really happy, looking forward to this. They really wanted to play this game, and yet now it's delayed till December 6th, okay? So right now we're 6 weeks total away from what it was I think it's supposed to be, right? It's getting pushed back from November 15th to December 6th. Well, it's an extra 3 weeks, but yeah. So we're like 5 weeks away. So the game director comes out and says he's very apologetic, and he says that it's not about the game. The game is stable. It's the back end stuff because they're taking everything from Path of Exile 1 and moving it over to Path of Exile 2. So anybody that purchased anything over the years from they want that to move over to Path of Exile 2 because they don't want those people to lose anything, right? So they have to they have to try to server side to get all this thing working correctly. So I think it's big on them to say, hey, look, it's not the game. It's the actual back end of the game. We don't want to screw this up because you only get one.
What was it, 3 weeks?
It's an extra 3 weeks. And I think it might get pushed back more. It's early access, though. It's even the early access. It's not even the full-fledged release.
I get it, man, but 3 weeks is nothing.
No.
3 weeks is nothing.
But it's not fixing the game, though. It's fixing the back end of the game, the back end servers.
I got it. But still, I'm not sure 3 weeks is enough time, man.
I agree. I don't think 3 weeks is enough time. I think they might have to push it back a little further, which I don't think any company should. Again, this is a free-to-play game. They're already making money off Path of Exile 1. They have a consistent income coming in with Path of Exile 1, right? I know they want to get Path of Exile 2 correct and push it out, but don't stress yourself out to try to push this out where first impressions are everything. And yeah, sure, you're going to have the people that want to come over from Path of Exile 1 and they're super excited to go into Path of Exile 2, but don't fuck it up. Like, just take your time, fix what you got to fix. And the people that love Path of Exile 1, you know they're going to move over to Path of Exile 2, and you're just going to connect merge those entry points of people giving you money for your free-to-play game as a smooth transition, right? They're still having a massive income. So I think they need to kind of like slow down, focus on what they have to do, and not try to rush themselves and go, well, we delayed it 3 weeks, and I don't want to delay it another 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think they should shut up.
It's a big deal.
Do what you got to do, and then bring it out.
it's a big deal because you're trying to hand off the football to continue on people playing the game that they love to play and paying them to play it. You know what I mean? Like the transition has to be smooth.
Right.
You don't want to disrupt the community that you already have installed.
Yeah, and I think they could do damage here if they do it wrong. I think if they just take their sweet time. Again, the game doesn't come out till next year. This is early access, right? So just do it right. Don't be a CD Projekt Red. Don't be a No Man's Sky. Don't be a Battlefield. Don't be a Fallout 76. Okay. Now, obviously, all these games are paid for. This is a free to play game, but people early access are paying big bucks to get into the early access because they're rewarding people that have been with the community for a long time, and they have to get a certain founders pack or whatever to get into the access. So, I think they should just take their time. Don't rush this stuff. Okay. The next thing, these fucking guys, man. It's like every week we got to talk about these idiots. Okay. Fantastic.
Which group?
The Fantastic, right? The day before developers, Fantastic, right? It's like 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row now. Want to design levels, okay? They want you. Fantastic wants you to design levels for them, but they won't pay you. What is happening?
At least they're blunt about it. Like they're just forthcoming. They just say it.
This is ridiculous. All right. So developers behind the failed extraction shooter the day before are asking people to design levels for their next game. Fantastic took it to the Discord servers and the gamer, and they announced the contest, right? For the people to design a map for its latest attempt at the game items. Now the catch is the winner of the contest won't be paid for their work. Okay, this contest is a chance for you to unleash your creativity by designing a map that, if it wins, will be added to the game in the future updates. Right, and for everyone that loses, they'll just take your map and change it up a little bit so it's their map, and now they have a whole bunch of maps to.
They're basically this. It's so incredible. They're just basically saying that the guy that used to work for them quit. And so they're just trying to get anyone to.
It's so stupid.
It makes absolutely no sense anymore.
You have to earn.
These guys are trying to do exactly what Star Citizen is doing, but in a completely wrong fashion.
Look, you have to earn the right to do this.
It's the same type of approach. Just
look. There's other games that do this, right? Halo does this, Fortnite does this, but you know the difference between those games and this game? Those games actually prove themselves that they're actually a game that you can play. It's been around for decades. Some of them almost been around for a decade. Fortnite's very successful at what it's doing, but for some strange reason, these guys are putting the cart before the horse and then putting a contest before the horse. And you know what I mean? It's like, what? Can you guys just make something to completion? Before you start asking people, like, make a game, sell a game, and then once you make a good game and sell that game, then your next game you go, hey, you know what? If you guys like the game, thanks for the support. Do you guys want to make a game? Cool. These guys are just shady. They're just shady, man.
No, I think this is the best comedy for gaming currently. The story of these guys is comedy. It's just pure gold. I don't even get mad anymore at what they're doing. I think it's just pure gold. They're basically trolling the entire industry, and I think in some way that it works for them.
It's so frustrating. It really is. Like, these guys just don't go away. We were talking about roaches earlier today.
Why would they go away?
They're like a roach. Bed bugs. They're just insects that are just. All right. The next thing I want to talk about. Let's talk about Call of Duty. Okay, we'll talk about Call of Duty. So Call of Duty, okay, we don't have actual, like, super numbers here. That's IGN. I need, which one is this?
I find all of the stuff that's coming out. I can't even keep it straight in my head. All the news that comes out, all the nonsense at once. It's like getting hit in the face with a confetti blaster.
So Call of Duty Black Ops 6, biggest Call of Duty launch ever. Sets new single-day Game Pass sub-record on top of that. It says Microsoft CEO Nadell says that the the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a new day one opening weekend records as sales on PlayStation and Steam jumped 60% compared to 2023's Modern Warfare 3, and Game Pass also benefited from Call of Duty's release, setting a new record for the amount of new subscribers in a single day. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launch week saw the strong concurrence on Steam and outperformed Modern Warfare 2 and 3, right? So, obviously, a lot of people are upset about this, Sarge, because the game that they said that they're not going to make money on because Microsoft, they don't realize that Microsoft didn't own the business before, and they only made 20 to 30% of all the sales that they made on Call of Duty just on their system, okay? But now Microsoft owns Call of Duty and Activision, and now they make 70 to 80% of all things from all platforms across everywhere. And they're like, oh, well, they could lose up to 6 million copies because 4.5 to 6 million could be going to Game Pass. It's like, you understand that they're making money there and there and there and there. Like, I don't understand the reporters. I don't understand the fanboys that talk about, like, Microsoft is going to fail because they're going to be losing money and Microsoft is making less money than Sony on Sony. It's like, what? Are you okay? Did you hit your head? Like, they're making more money. The less sign, greater than sign is the greater end part is towards Microsoft, right?
But the way you guys talked about this on a morning show, I think a few days back, and I was looking at it, and so they said something about 4 million. I don't want to get incorrect. They said they expect 4 million new users.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 to 4 million. Yeah.
So let's say 3 million, just to say,
okay.
right? So 3 million people sign up for Game Pass just to try Call of Duty.
No,
right?
Sarge, they're losing the money.
Hang on. Let's say it's a low retention number.
Yep.
Let's say only 10%.
Yep.
Right? Let's say out of the 3 million people, 10% stay longer than a month. Right?
Right. 1 month, 2 months after.
300,000 people times $20 a month is a win for them.
Right. It's a price of a video game company that's making a game for 4 to 5 years in development.
They're trying to build a base of people over time like Netflix does. If they get an additional 300,000 people from one game, that's a win for them.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they don't hang on to them for forever, right? The 10% retention number, maybe you hold them long enough to get to the next game and they hang out and they figure out after being there, like, you know what? For $20, it's worth it.
Right. Well,
for $20, it's worth it. It's worth just having games on demand, basically.
Right, because you might find another game while you're playing Call of Duty, and then as you're going to open it, all of a sudden another game pops up, like next month, right? We have, in December, I should say. I don't know. November, we have Flight Simulator coming out and Stalker coming out. And then December, you have Indiana Jones. So if you're brand new, coming to Xbox for the first time because of Call of Duty, right? Now you either bought a system or you're just playing through your television set or the dongle or whatever. Now you're playing Call of Duty. Now, obviously, you're going to play Call of Duty for the next solid month, probably, because you like it or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden, the next thing comes out, and maybe you're a fan of Flight Sim. Maybe not. Maybe you're a fan of Stalker 2. Maybe not. Maybe I can play one of those other games I haven't played, and you're like, oh, well, I'm paying for this. Let me try something else.
Right, but there's something in front of you that says,
always.
I can go try that.
Right, there's always a carrot in front of you.
That's the whole business model. Like, are they losing money from people not buying the game directly from them? Yes.
Sure. But they're also making the money still from the other places.
Right. But that is not the business model.
Right.
Right? The game as it stands by itself is not the business model. The popularity of the game, and for people to say, hey, I don't have to buy COD. I can just try it out and then have those people in the ecosystem is the win.
Right. And then they also have season passes and stuff that are going in there. And even if you play it for free through Warzone, you're going to buy a microtransaction down the line. Maybe you buy a skin. Maybe you buy Nicki Minaj for the second time, or Cheech and Chong, or whatever. Right. Whatever comes out for this game, whatever celebrities come out for this game to play, or the visuals. A person that didn't pay anything paid $20 to play Call of Duty for 3 weeks or whatever, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, we're adding Elon Musk in the game. You could be Elon Musk inside the game, and you shoot stuff." And you're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be Elon!" All right, and they buy Elon and they pay $10.
It's about.
Right,
it's
that's
about It's about retaining a certain percentage of people and have them spend inside the game.
Yeah. So I don't understand where these people are always like, Xbox is a joke because we're not going to make money on this. It's like, I don't understand if you understand how business works.
Well, I'm curious to know now that the fear is over, and PlayStation didn't get COD taken from them, right?
Right.
So now PlayStation can sell as much COD as they want. Now, my question to you is, before the holidays, does Sony just come out and say how many copies of COD were sold? Because they were talking about COD forever. If it was going to be taken away from them, they were going to go out of business, bro. Remember, the lawsuit is you're controlling a property that can put us out of business. Like, okay, Sony, here's the game. What's the number? What's the number that you should be so proud of now that wasn't taken away from you, that saved you from going out of business?
Yep.
What?
Well, it's just funny. Let's just say they sell 10 million copies on PlayStation, right? 10 million copies on PlayStation. They're like, PlayStation sold more than Xbox. We got 10 million copies. Like, and Microsoft gets 70% of each one of those.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Sony.
We're happy that people are buying COD.
Yeah. Yeah. So on other news with Call of Duty, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6 developers are protesting over the office working policy. Okay, a layoff of Wolf in return to office sheep's clothing. Okay, it says Activision quality assurance staff who worked for just released the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 staged a protest against the company's return to work policy. Staff at Activision Quality Assurance Studio in Eden, Prairie, Minnesota, butchered that, were told to return to the office full-time back in January after years of remote and hybrid working. At this time, the move was criticized by the company's biggest union as a soft layoff. 9 months later, the row over the policy affects rumbles on. Last Friday, the staff member took protest action back to the Communication Workers of America, CWA, okay, and which claimed in a statement that Call of Duty publisher Activision was inciting workers must work in the office, even though those are serious medical conditions and doctors' recommendations to work from home. Okay. Ahead of protests, Activision Workers Group, ABK, issued a statement saying that unequal policy had the unquestionable harm disabled employees and employees in need of work from home accommodations, who have been unfairly refused exception from return to office work and months since the policy introduction. Okay, here's the thing. I totally get that there's workarounds now, because before the world closed down for 2 years, nobody was allowed to work from home, right? Nobody. Everyone had to work in the office.
Okay, before that, yeah.
Yeah, before the world closed down, everyone had to work in the office.
Yeah, they go to work.
Then the world closed down, and then remote, and everyone could work home, and that opened up the can of worms. Because, and I'm not saying this, okay, to say like everybody that's saying I can't work from there is faking it. Okay, obviously there's people that are disabled and can't go back there in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they got the job because they could work from home, and that was the reason, but now they have to go back. But there's a lot of people going, I don't want to put underwear on. I just want to stay home and work. I'm not going into work. I want to protest this, right? And I get it from the business aspect as well. From the business, we talked about this a couple months ago. The company's paying hundreds, if not millions of dollars for a building with lights and electricity and furniture and insurance policy and property tax and all of this stuff. And they're like, well, what are we doing with this? And they're like, well, we're not doing anything with it. So do we get rid of it? Well, no, because we need it for a tax write-off. We need it for incentives. We need it for whatever. And they're like, well, we need to bring people back into the thing. And now it gets shady, because it's like, Sergeant, I need you to come in. But Dolphin's like, I don't want to come in. So it's like, and then Sarge's like, well, why do I have to come in? If Dolphin doesn't come in, why do I have to come in? And nobody wants to go in anymore because everyone's been doing the same job from home for the longest time, right? So what do they do? What do they do?
But you're missing the big point of this, though. See, once the door was open, everyone's trying to get out at the same time.
Yeah.
When you had to go to work, you had to go to work. Okay, period. Right? They said, now remember this, everyone said for many years prior to that, everyone has to go to work because you cannot do these jobs from home. It was said openly, right? Cannot do these jobs from home. We just can't run. It was out on news stories. It was everywhere. We cannot run the country this way. We cannot run these jobs this way. You have to go to work. It's impossible to run these jobs from home. Now, the pandemic happens, and miraculously, the two options are go out of business or work from home. That's impossible to work from home.
Right.
Right? All of a sudden, miraculously, everybody can work from home. Somehow, some way, all the jobs that you were told could never, ever work from home. All of a sudden can work from home.
Right.
Now, we try to glaze over it. Everyone's working. And now you're saying, okay, well, now we have to go back to work. So here's my question. Well, you already lied once and said that you couldn't work from home, but now we can, right? But they can't control the product anymore if people are working from home.
Right, because it's the security risk of people getting leaked stuff or whatever.
That's fine. You're not having control of the products or your people because they're home, right? So the issue then becomes, well, if I need you to come back to the office and they're playing like this little school game where it's like, I don't want to go back to work.
Right.
I can work from home. We've proven it, right? Well, the rule now is that's great. Now they have to play this lawyer game where they have to give you a list of reasons. And this is how it's going to happen. They're going to give you a list of reasons why you're not allowed to work from home.
Right.
And if you do work from home, we can't have you employed here anymore because of these reasons. They're going to have to play the long game now and come up with the laws and things that say why we can't work from home.
The policies.
Whereas before you lied and said you just can't do it because it's impossible. You were proven wrong. Now you got to come up with a list of stuff that proves that you can't go home, that you can't work from home in order for this to work. Otherwise, people have the right question. Why do I have to go to work if I can do this from home? And so the answer is, well, because we can't control you when you're home.
That's right.
That's the answer. You can't have people working on billion-dollar contracts. Now, if you're doing something where you can work remote, right? You can work remote.
Sure.
However, then what they're going to do, and once again, they're going to start turning the knobs. They're going to say, well, you don't come to work, so you don't get the same benefits. Right. That's how it's going to be. It's like
we cut your pay a little bit.
Right. You don't come to work, so we cut your pay a little bit. You don't get full benefits anymore because
you're not using our computer. You're not using our stuff.
Security breaches, whatever rules they want to make up, they can make up whatever they want, and so they'll slowly turn the knob the other way. That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, the other answer is, well, if he's only coding for us and he doesn't want to come to work, I mean.
Do they just do the red stapler thing from Office Space?
Isn't the latest AI thing going to take his job anyway? And they're like, yeah, sure. Let him stay home for 18 months. And then when we get the thing all hooked up, he'll be done anyway. Won't matter.
Right. So you're saying they do an Office Space to him where, they just remove him from the thing.
It's not.
And it'll just solve itself.
Yeah. It's not like an Office Space thing. It's strange. You mentioned it earlier when you were saying it. These guys are spending money for rent for this building.
Lots of money.
Right. And so if I really now here's the other end of the spectrum. If businesses can figure out how to do the tax incentives without having the building and just claiming a business, but it's not brick and mortar, if they can get around that, then I can see certain businesses where like they don't even have, there's no address, everyone works from home, and it's a P.O. box somewhere in some city, and that's the business. Like, Can you see things going that direction? Like, I can, and that would seem a little strange because then you wouldn't know who's in control of what's going on.
That breaks down so much more, and it goes way bigger than this because the picture that we're showing, right? Let's just say they own one quadrant of that building, and now the other building over there. Let's say now that studio doesn't need the building anymore, right? So now the landlord's like, well, I'm not making anybody. No one's working from businesses anymore. They're all working at home remotely.
It'll end up being a sublease scam
Right.
where a business owns a business is paying rent for a building that they're not using, and so the landlord just charges somebody else to actually be there. So in
Right.
actuality, he's charging them
Twice.
Right, for
right.
the same building.
Yeah, because they're not using it
because
and
there's
it's empty,
nobody
it's
there.
vacant, so he's putting it right. Exactly right.
I could see that happening as well.
100%. Right. It goes
happening
bigger
as
than
well.
just it goes bigger than what we're just talking about here. Look, I've talked about this in the past.
It's just,
If the company wants you to work, and I understand if
it's not going to
you're
work.
physically unable to get there, I don't know how you got the job originally, right? Like maybe you're super disability, you can't walk or whatever, but you can still code, and you got the job before you were in the office, right? You were never in the office. You got hired as a person on the staff after they left the office, and now they're asking you to come in, but now you're like, I can't get there. There's got to be some workaround or whatever, right? But if we were all in the office and then we all went home and only a couple people come back to the office, you'd be like, well, why does Sarge get to stay home where I have to come in? Why do I have to commute but he doesn't? Like, what is the deal? There's got to be some sort of give and take.
Up the rules again.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, there's been a lot of leaks, Krebsy. A lot of leaks, right? All of a sudden, a 14-year-old son walks in the room. He sees him playing Call of Duty, takes his cell phone, videotapes something, takes some pictures.
How do you control the secrecy of your products?
Right, you can't.
This is what I'm saying.
So, I get it. It sucks, but they're gonna have to figure that out. Next story. What time is it? 9:25.
You're the first scam where a landlord is subletting a building like to 3 or 4 different people.
I guarantee you that's happening right now. The Verge. Okay, the next story, Sarge. The Verge, Microsoft gaming revenue keeps going up, even though hardware sales are going down. Okay.
Color me shocked.
Yeah. But Microsoft's closing shop, Sarge. Microsoft is closing shop, right? So Q1 2025 earnings are in, and results show that Microsoft Software's gaming revenues are way up, even in Xbox hardware revenue is in decline, okay? The company says that Xbox content service revenue grew 61% year over year from previous quarter, a figure driven by 53 points of the net impact from Activision acquisition. Now, according to the company's press release, it says, but hardware revenue, again, declined down to 29%, okay, this quarter, which is also influenced by Microsoft's continued strategy to make games available more widely than Xbox consoles. Now, during the quarter, Microsoft included the new Xbox Game Pass standard tier and the price hike for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Q1 also saw the arrival of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, not Black Ops 6, the Call of Duty 3 on Game Pass, but the quarter doesn't include the impact of Black Ops 6, okay, which launches last week, okay. On top of that, the company also... Intelligent Cloud Division was also a bright spot with a total revenue of 20% year over year, with 24.1 billion driven by the Azura. Azura also has a cloud service revenue of up 33%, including 12 points from the demand of the AI service. And productivity of the business process, which includes the Office products, was up 12% year over year from 28.3 billion. Right, so. What do you make of this, Sarge? Right, the hardware is down. Xbox sales, even though actually hardware sales. Let me repeat this. Hardware sales are up, but they're down from year over year. Right, so they've been selling Xboxes. That's up, but they're still low from last year over year. Okay, sure. But they're making more money in the software section. Imagine Microsoft making money in the software section.
They don't care. This is exactly what was going to happen anyway. By the way that they were speaking, you knew that they were going to sell less hardware, but because of all the software that they have and because of the subscription service model, revenue were going to go up. That's like saying, if I tell you 1 + 1, tune in tomorrow to find out what the answer is. And everyone's like, we don't need to wait till tomorrow. We know where the answer is. The answer is 2, right? Like that's what we're talking about here. Like, that's what they're doing. Like, that's what this is, right? So my stock just went up for all the stuff I just planned ahead of it. Yeah, everything's good. We're all good, right? We spent less money making actual tangible products, but we're making more money on the software because we're Microsoft. Yes.
Well, here, exactly Roadkill just said, Xbox is doing all right considering I joined Game Pass for Black Ops Okay, like this so much, I bought it on PlayStation, so they got double my money. But there you go, right? Now, Roadkill, I know you're a PlayStation guy, right? And this is not an Xbox PlayStation thing. This is just what they were planning years out, right? And Krebsy's saying Bethesda saved 2023, Activision Blizzard saved 2024. Who cares though? They made these purchases of $7.3 billion and $69 billion because they were going to turn away the thing, right? Like turn around the ship to make them profitable, right? This is not a thing like, well, they're only profitable because of this. Well, yes, they made the right choices, right? The Patriots only won the Super Bowl because they invested in Tom Brady, right? Yes. That's exactly right. That's right. Correct. They invested their money, and the payoff in the future was 7 Super Bowls, right? That's what they did. They invested in Bethesda. It paid off for them. They invested in Activision. It's paying off for them. But this is just the early stages, right? There's more coming, more games, more sequels, more things. That's what it is, right? So I'm not shocked in any way, shape, or form. You could go back 6 years ago before they even came out with this system, and they were doing Game Pass, and I said they're not playing the same system anymore. They're playing 2 separate games. Okay, they're paying for down the road. This is before they bought Bethesda. This is before they bought Activision. They were just making Game Pass. And now they bought Bethesda, putting the games on Game Pass. They bought Activision, putting the games on Game Pass. It's not just Game Pass, though. It works. Game Pass only works because they're putting it elsewhere, right? Game Pass itself is making a shit ton of money for them, but the off-selling of buying the games, the microtransactions on Steam, on Battle.net, on PlayStation, on the other third-party areas and software, that works with a long Game Pass, not just this and that. It's all working together as planned. Maybe it's a shot in the dark. Maybe they didn't even know it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it just happened to turn out this way. But you didn't buy Call of Duty and Activision to be like, well, yeah, they're not going to save us. Of course they're going to save you.
But the consumer needs to see for themselves the way that the marketing is structured. The consumer has to see on his own that I can buy this game and play it. And then you start to realize that the games that you like, I'm going to buy and play, happen to also be on Game Pass. So then you say to yourself, well, the last 3 games that I bought are actually on Game Pass. So I'm spending $120 or $180 on the games that I bought, or I could have just have Game Pass,
right,
and not spend that much money. So they say to themselves, well, maybe it's worth a try, or maybe it's worth this. So let me get it for a month, or let me get it for a 3-month period of time when they do one of those specials, right? And so you say to yourself, let's try it. So once you realize that you are the type of person that has these games, but they're also on Game Pass, eventually you say to yourself, well, I just save money by getting it, because you're not thinking about the hard copy, you want to have it. You're just thinking about the amount of money that you're spending.
Right.
They're not telling you that. You have to see it for yourself. That's why there's a slow transition of these games over. That's why they want the major titles to be on Game Pass, because then you'll start asking yourself that question.
Well, here's another thing I think is funny, right? If it comes out and let's say Call of Duty sells 30 billion copies, it sells just as many copies as it did a couple years ago where it sold 30 million copies, right? People will be like, well, Microsoft is only successful because they bought Call of Duty and it sold 30 million copies. Yes. And if they didn't buy it and Call of Duty sold well on PlayStation, they'd be like, see, Call of Duty is really good on PlayStation. Yes, both things are true, right? But now Xbox owns, right? Microsoft owns Xbox or Call of Duty. So when it does well on PlayStation, Microsoft also does well because that's their product now, right? And then they'll move the goalpost and say, well, they didn't make it. They didn't make it.
But this is why I'm waiting for a few weeks to pass, because I want to see what the end game and conversation is out of Sony yelling for almost 2 years that if they get COD, that's going to destroy them. They said this literally, that if Microsoft owns COD, that it would destroy them because they wouldn't be able to have access to it. And the whole time, Phil Spencer's like, yeah, you can have COD. Everyone's going to have COD.
Everyone's got COD. Yeah.
Everyone's going to have COD.
We'll sign deals ahead of time. 10-year deal. Here you go.
Screaming out the windows, they're they're gonna kill us. COD's not gonna be on Sony. They're gonna kill us. Right? Lawsuit after lawsuit after I don't have goldfish brain. So now here we are. COD is released. I'm waiting to see.
Right. Is everyone on PlayStation enjoying COD right now?
What's going on? What's happening?
Are they enjoying COD there? Are you enjoying COD on Steam? Are you enjoying COD and Battle.net?
I'm pretty sure it's doing well.
Yeah. But look, people are upset about multiplayer because there are problems with Call of Duty, but we're talking from a business side, right? We're talking just from the business aspect of it. Like, no one took your game away from you. You still get to play the game. And yes, everyone's making money. It just so happens that Microsoft is making the most money because now they spent $69 billion. You better well think that they're going to get the most profit cut from that. You know what I mean? So it's just funny. It's funny, but it is what it is. Let me see if I have another. All right. So just to put it in perspective, Sarge. Now, Xbox did not build these brands, okay? But they have these brands, okay? Now, Xbox has 20 video game franchises that have earned $1 billion. Now, I know there's some Sony guy right now, not Truman, but not, Bruce Almighty.
They made $1 billion, but not under Microsoft.
Correct. That's not what it says. It says the franchise have earned $1 billion. So Microsoft is in control of 20 franchises that have all made $1 billion. Okay. Now, just put that in perspective, Sarge. If every single game came out in the next 2 years from these 20 games, they would have to sell 3 times the amount each just to get the $69 billion back. You see what I'm saying? There's 20 franchises at $1 billion a piece. They paid $69 billion for stuff. Okay. So here's the franchises though. Okay. The franchises of this is Halo, Minecraft, Forza, Age of Empires, Flight Simulator, Gears of War, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Guitar Hero, okay, Tony Hawk, Crash Bandicoot, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, and there's a couple missing. I don't know where the other ones are, but that's a lot of franchises, okay?
But a lot of those happened during the heyday of gaming.
Sure, but there's still now, Call of Duties.
Yes, but
they make $1 billion a year.
Let's put it this way. I don't like the article, okay? Because I don't understand what they're trying to say about Microsoft.
Well, they're not saying anything. They're just letting you know they have 20 companies.
Piss IP down the drain, right? Between Sony and Microsoft, I have seen more IP being pissed down the drain than I've ever seen in my entire living existence. About beautiful IP that as you just stated, have made $1 billion in its lifetime.
Yeah, in a lifetime.
But we're gonna just throw them down the toilet because it doesn't matter anymore to them, right?
Well, I think a lot of these, they're not throwing a lot of these out of the toilet though. A lot of these are still going strong, right? They're making another Gears of War. They're making another Halo. I don't know about Guitar Hero. Okay, Tony Hawk, I'm not too sure about. Crash Bandicoot, a little weird. Elder Scrolls, we know that Elder Scrolls 6 is coming, right? Fallout, we know Fallout's continuing, right? We know Doom is continuing.
Well,
right, so
Candy Crush is on mobile. There's not even a conversation about that one.
Well, that makes $1 billion regardless.
Yeah. Right? Regardless.
Right. So there's all of these games that are in the top 20, 17 of them on this list. They're all still working.
Yeah, but an article like this, what it really says is to people who are investors, they'll read an article like this and they go, I never realized that Microsoft has acquired that many IP. Maybe now's a good time for me to invest in them because that's a lot of product that makes a lot of money, right? Whereas somebody like me who's been alive long enough to know all those titles and what still stands and what isn't, to say to myself, well, I don't understand what this article is really about. All you're really saying is Microsoft was able to hoard all the guys that used to make money. Now we have to see if they can actually close on making money still with those IPs.
Well, if Microsoft never came out with a new IP ever again, and they just made sequels to these 20 games,
and they didn't piss them away, they do decent. Sure,
they would be fine. 20 games, that right there, 20 games is enough for a life cycle of another system. You see what I'm saying? 4 a year for 5 years, right? That would be enough to do it. Right, and that's just off of their first-party titles now, right? That's not including third-party titles and other things that also work with them. I thought it was interesting. that $1 billion.
It is, but at the same time, we know all the IPs that they've completely just let go of. They don't care, so we'll see. We'll see if they'll maintain.
Yeah, it's sad what they've done to with what's it called? Halo. But we'll see what happens when they turn it around. All right, the next one I want to talk about is Sony. Okay, it's official now, Sarge. It's official that Sony is closing down Concord. Okay, now it's so official now. We can bring in Abe. Abe is here to give it an official.
Well, what about the comeback? I thought it was coming back.
No, there's no comeback. They've literally shut down the studio now. The studio.
But they can shut down the studio, but they can still bring back the game.
Oh no, the game is done. The studio's done. The game is done. They put a Vagoda on it. Which,
what about all the work they're doing behind the scenes?
Nope, they've closed the studio. They're done. Okay, so much so, Sarge, we are not going to change this segment from Vagoda to Concord, right? So when a game goes away now, right, it will be Vagoda this time, but. This is the last time we'll see Vagoda in that form. Okay? From now on, any game that fails, it will be concorded.
Concorded.
Yeah, it's been concorded.
We could just, you could just show it the picture of the Concorde. That'll
sure.
That'll represent it fine.
Yeah, so from now on, chat.
Because if you show a picture of Concord, no one will know what the fuck it is.
Yeah. So I'll put Abe's Vagoda's face on one of these characters, and then put a Concord in the background. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. But it's been Concord. So Sony closed Concord Studio, permanently shuts down the game. Okay, Sony is closing Firewalk Studios and studio behind PlayStation, and Concord game is also took offline last month after a disastrous launch. Okay, it says we've spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. There was no options. Let's be honest. I made fun of it earlier today. I was like, what options did you have? Changing the characters to make them good looking? Free to play game? Changing what? The mechanics of the game that you already put together? What were they gonna do to change this game? Okay. Now, I said I was going to give it 6 months before they canceled it. I was wrong. Okay. But I still said, even if they bring it out 6 months later, the game is going to die a second time because there's nothing they could have done to save this game, right? What options did they have, Sarge? I love that they put it there. Oh, we went through all the options. What did you have? Closing it, and what? Closing it? Like, what are the options?
Well, I think what ends up happening is they try to go for as long as they can while they work out how they can benefit or how they can claim through tax purposes, whatever. How can they recoup some of the money lost from this as a write-off?
Oh, it's a tax write-off, 1,000%. Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, you have to keep people long enough to figure out when is the turning point where if you let people go. Remember, if you close the studio down, you have to pay out unemployment. You don't want to fire people, right? Because you have to pay unemployment afterwards, right? So it's a delicate balance of when you let people go and how you let them go, whereas that shows whether or not you have to continue paying the people. Because remember, if you leave willingly, you don't get unemployment. If you're fired, you get unemployment. Right? When you close down a studio, you're basically pushing the button that says, "Well, I got to pay unemployment," right? Because remember, the proprietor of the business pays towards unemployment. It's part of the taxes and the regulations. I'm not sure each state is different, but that's why if you get fired, there's got to be a good reason, right? When you're fired, they don't have to pay you.
Right? Real quick, Jason, they're not moving the people all to different studios. In the article, it says down below that they're going to try to place as many people as possible. That doesn't mean in their studio. It means they could call up other studios and reach out to them and say, "Hey, we have a couple of guys that are great developers. Do you have any room in your studio?" But I doubt that's going to happen, considering that there's more layoffs in the last 2 years than any other time in the history of video games. Okay, so there's a lot of people losing their jobs. Nintendo closed a studio. Sony just closed 2 studios. Microsoft closed a couple of studios earlier this year. But Krebsy is saying something, right? Because when Microsoft closes a studio, the world's coming to an end. Microsoft they're the worst, and Phil Spencer needs to get fired. But when Sony closes studios, it's, well, what did you want them to do? You know, it's just what it is. It's just kind of the business, right? Which is just funny to me, right? Just keep the same energy level, people. You know what I mean? Like if one person's bad for closing a studio, like Tango GameWorks for Hi-Fi Rush, then these guys have to be bad. Now, do you think someone should get fired, Sarge? Like Herman Holtz or somebody should get fired from this because maybe they didn't have full control because these were planned way before they got into the power that they're in, right? But you know, you're dealt the hand you're given when you take over a studio like this.
Yeah, but this is a separate conversation. What's been going on recently is that whatever cities or states or for that matter countries that some of these development studios are in are getting benefit packages for or incentives to make the game. So companies are not losing 100% of their investment that they invest in the game because they're getting a chunk of money from the government for whatever other obligations that they have met that allow them to make it. Like, for instance, Canada and a few other countries, if you have a diversity thing, then you get a discount or you get some credit towards making the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of that, it's so strange now that I don't think that these companies are actually losing as much money as we think they are because of the structure of how they got the money to make the game originally.
Right, because we don't know what benefits or incentives.
There's a
like
lot
in the
of
film industry,
because if there was no incentive, right? If there was no incentive, and the way that these games are handled and that they fail, somebody gets fired. It's
right.
somebody's decision to make this game to lead up to this point. I don't understand how they could fail this many times and this, I guess, epic with the amount of money that they spend for these games and nobody gets fired. Like the upper management, the guys who made the decisions to make the game, nobody gets fired. Just the development team.
Right. And the guy who stepped down, the director stepped down.
It's weird to me that no one takes responsibility for the bad decision. And it happens multiple times. It's worse in the movies because in the movies, when they fail up. These guys don't claim any responsibility at all.
Well, there's a lot of people. I was talking about the incentives. Like if you film in like Georgia, right, and they have an incentive package of let's say $50 million, whoever films in Georgia first gets that money, right? So they have like 7 films that come into the state. They each get $50 million. So when they say their budget's $100 million, it's actually $150 million because they spent $150, but they got $50 million. Do you know what I mean? So
I do, but this is why when I look at all these failures and the just the sheer bloat amount of money that they spend on these games that they get no return over, and they repeat it again. The same owners have 2 or 3 studios doing the same thing, and they all fail, and nobody gets fired.
Right.
Like, wouldn't even the board of directors for the company be like, we have to let this guy go? Like,
well,
nope.
I think it's weird because I think Firewalk Studios, right? Like they had $200 million before Sony even picked them up. Sony bought the company and they added $200 million to Concord, right? So I think someone in the Concord space, obviously they lost their job, so I think that's set, right? But then Sony made the choice of buying this and they got nothing. They got nothing out of this. They spent the money to buy the studio. 2 studios, because they have another studio they closed as well, a mobile studio that didn't make anything. Okay. And they put $200+ million into a game. It lasted for less than 2 weeks. Okay. They got no return whatsoever. They had to give all the money back. Okay. And I feel like that someone has to be like, hey, what's going on? Is anyone going to take hit for this? Or are we okay with just throwing away $300 million possibly?
That's what I'm saying. A company loses allegedly $300 million and nobody gets fired.
Right, but that's what they lost in the initial. What's the potential they lost? Right, because this game was supposed to maybe sell 5 to 7 million copies. It was a live service game. It was supposed to make all. Do you know what I mean? It was supposed to bring in so much more money. I know you can't.
You can't count the money that you thought you were going to make as a loss.
No, I get that, but this was a long play game, right? They're having what's that show that's coming out on Amazon? The one doing all the video game stuff, right? I forget what it's called. Secret Level, right? I think it's called Secret Level, right? There's an episode just on Concord, right? There was a report that they were already putting the cart before the horse with this. They had novels, comic books, TV shows, like a toy line. They had all this stuff planned for Concord before Concord proved it was even exactly right. Right? So who lined this all up, and who's not getting fired for this?
But this is what I'm saying, man. It seems a little strange that a company can lose that much money and there's no responsibility, right? And then the same thing happened again. And I know this is two different studios, but I'm just going to make the point. When a bunch of people get fired for some strange reason, the guy at the top gets a raise.
Right.
It happens every time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
it's a little strange, and how I've said it now for the last few months, right? Or actually the last few years, that the game companies are bloated. They are trying to make these Titan games with these AAA titles and all this money. They think they're going to rake all this money back in because they're all still chasing GTA. They're all still chasing the Genshin Impact type games. They're chasing because they think that as long as they get a game close to this, they can make a shit ton of money. And the answer is no, you cannot. Right? And how many times have they done it? And I never see anyone say, you know what? Not even a sub story, because sometimes they won't make it a mainstream thing because they don't want the guy to get to get a blemish on his record. Oh, I'm sorry, the blemish on the record. You're in a multi-billion-dollar company. You came out with an idea to make billions of dollars. Your billions of dollars didn't make any money. Instead, you spent hundreds of millions of dollars of the company's money and you didn't get a dollar back. And you don't get any kind of. There's nothing. There's no story written about you. There's no nothing.
I would love to see, and this is my speculation that I said earlier in my morning show, Sarge. I find it a little strange that Bungie dicked over Microsoft in the past. Bungie dicked over Activision in the past. Bungie was trying to get picked up by Microsoft, but Microsoft said they're too overbloated, right? And they denied to pick them up, and then Sony picked them up, okay? Now, I find it weird. Now, again, this is just my speculation, okay? I'm Batman, okay? In my detectiveness here, okay? Bungie screwed them over big time, okay? They weren't doing as well as they thought they were, told Sony they were big guys, and then they found out they were hemorrhaging money, and they paid $3.2 billion for the company, okay? Then Firewalk Studios is ex-Bungie employees that started a brand new studio, and then they get sold to Sony, and then Sony pays money for this company as well, and then turns out on this. I understand they're two separate companies, but they're all connected, right? They're all like Bungie employees over here, moved over to this new studio, and then they all being picked up by Sony, and Sony is making diddly squat off of these things right now, and they're hemorrhaging money, and nothing's turned out. And now we have Marathon waiting in the wings from Bungie, right? And we don't know if that's going to do good. They got to be shaken right now because of the live service stuff, right? Hopefully Marathon comes out and does a lot better than Concord.
Yeah, but
okay.
Bungie to me is like the video game zombie, right?
Yeah.
They don't die. They just attach themselves to somebody else that's going to that's going to spot the bill for them, and then they end up trying to do some kind of 180 game that they come to. Oh, we got this thing all planned out, and then they disappear again. I don't understand how the lack of financial responsibility to these companies it makes my head hurt. Thinking on how much money they spend on these games and they get nothing. They get nothing. And there's no shift. There's no shift in management. There's no shift in you hear about people who step down, but they're never the guy who made the decisions. They were only the guy that was in charge of directing the game because how he was told to direct it, and then he steps down.
Right.
But that's not a firing.
All right. The next thing I want to bring up, okay? We didn't have him last week, okay? We got Mr. Pete Parson, okay? We got Mr. Pete Parson here. Now, I have a little treat for you guys, okay? We've been doing the little jingle with him week after week. He added a couple new cars this week. Yeah, but the Halloween edition, okay? See if you can spot the new cars on the list, okay? We got the Halloween edition. But I figured, you know what? I think it's time for this segment to have his own theme song. So, accompanied by my writing skills, okay, and then AI making the jingle, okay, here is the premiere of the Pete Parson Carson song that will play every time we bring him up on the show. Are you ready, chat? Are you ready? Here we go.
Old school rides galore, still working at Bungie Buddies out for more. Pete Parson Carson in a car buying spree, but destiny's calling, he's gotta be free. Oh, Pete Parson Carson rolling down the road, car stacking high, but he still ain't go mode. Go Pete, go, save some for Bungie.
Sing it if you know the words.
From Teslas to old school rides galore, still working at Bungie Buddies out for more. Pete Parson Carson in a car buying spree, but destiny's calling, he's gotta be free. Oh, Pete Parson Carson rolling down the road, car stacking high, but he still ain't go mode. Go Pete, go, let's take some room for Bungie.
Oh, beautiful. There is the
Awesome.
there is the official song for Pete Parson Carson.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I'll be looking forward every week. If he comes back, I'll be looking forward.
I wrote the lyrics. I love the part where "keep some for Bungie" is what it says at the very end there. So,
Priceless.
if you guys like that, hit that like button down below. Come on. I wrote it. The AI put the music to it though, so it shouldn't get copyrighted because it's a made up song.
It's made up.
I own the rights to the song. I wrote it.
Not gonna get copyrighted. It's made up.
Like how they can't do that. Akuda Papa says, or Krebsy says, Akuda, Sony probably lost 350 to 420 million on Firewalk. Yeah. So there is Pete Parson. He got the Munsters mobile. Okay, he's got the Munster mobile, and he got the Ghostbusters.
I didn't really. I forgot what it was, but it is the Monster Mobile.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what those blue hoses are. Look, I didn't buy the car. Okay, I just got the picture. Okay, I'm not too sure what the blue hoses are. Maybe it's to suck in the fumes or something. I have no idea. Right, the containment unit's on top, isn't it? Where they shoot the. I have no idea. The fuck do I know?
It's a sci-fi car. I don't know all the stats.
Yeah. So just to let you know, Pete Parson's still at Bungie. Yeah, he's still at Bungie. You know, he's still there. So let's see what else we got here. We got Indiana Jones, Sarge. Indiana Jones is going to be has a surprise. It's a different surprise than what I just gave you for music. Okay. Right, so Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has good news for Xbox Series S owners.
Oh, how are the potato people going to respond? What's going on?
And the news is it's 60 frames per second. It's going to be 60 frames per second on the Series S.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, so the X and S, now I don't know the resolution, but it will run 60 frames per second. Did you see the new footage, Sarge, of Indiana Jones?
I don't believe I saw the new footage, no.
I did it 2 days ago. I think it was on Tuesday we watched it.
Oh, wait, no, where he was
punching. Yeah, he was punching and throwing bottles and hitting stuff. I have to say, from the small footage that we saw, not the trailer stuff, but the actual gameplay, it does seem like they've captured, like the game was created in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like during the filming of Indiana Jones, they've captured the essence of this. And in this article, at the very bottom, they this is what they say. Okay, it says, "Stay true to the classic feel rather than reinventing it." Okay, so, and that's all we've asked for always with these types of IPs that are back in the past. Like, stay true to the classic feel. Stay true to what the lore is. Stay true to what the the character is. Like, don't change it to just change it because you feel like the modern audience needs to, right? So I am excited for this game, and I said it earlier, Sarge, in my morning show. I'm excited like I'm excited when RoboCop came out. RoboCop, to me, captured the essence of the 80s movie in a video game. And RoboCop wasn't Game of the Year contender or anything like that. It was just a fun game that made me feel like I was playing RoboCop in the movie. Like, it was RoboCop 3 the movie, okay? I hope that this game comes out and it feels like the next Indiana Jones, not that shit that we got with Shia LaBeouf, okay? I've never actually seen it, okay? Or the last one that came out just, last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. Like, this, I hope, is the next sequel to The Last Crusade, or, after Temple of Doom or something like that. I hope it feels like that, like RoboCop felt for their version of the game. So are you excited for this? Are you not excited for this? I know you're an Indiana Jones guy.
I was. I mean, I'll always give it a chance. I always let it come out. Let's see what it does first. Maybe it's a maybe, right? Like, let's put it this way. I love Lara Croft. I love Lara Croft games. This is the original Adventure Hunter. So,
right. Uncharted and Lara Croft were based off of Indiana Jones, and now Indiana Jones is coming out, and now people are comparing it to Uncharted and Tomb Raider.
Well, that's my point. Is like those games came out because of this. Because remember, back in the day, the battle for getting licensing to do a game because of it was always a problem. Right. Now you have movie companies who are trying to get involved with games who want to use their IP to make billions of dollars, because everyone's being held a golden carrot now. And if you make a good video game, you can make $1 billion, right, Mike? So apparently that's where we are now. Otherwise, Indiana Jones would have came out way before Lara Croft. Well,
there was Indiana Jones games. They just weren't.
Yeah, come on, bro.
They weren't really good.
That's like saying there were superhero movies out when we were younger. Like, no, not really. Like, the best one we got really was like one of the Supermans and maybe the first Batman. Right. Otherwise than that,
no magic.
Guesswork.
I wrote it in one afternoon, like literally like 45 minutes, and then I put it into an AI program to make the music, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I got another one. I got another song that I'll probably premiere to you on Monday for the morning show. All right, Sarge. I don't have a news article for it, but I want to talk about what's happened with Veilguard, right? The Dragon Age Veilguard, like, lots of shit's going down, right? There's a definite line that's happening right now. You can link certain reviews to certain companies that are owned by one media company that's got like 7 or 8 underneath the same umbrella, and they all have around the same type of review scores, right? Then we have people, they didn't take the reviews down, but someone broke NDA. A girl broke, I forget what the actual girl's name is, but she broke NDA, came out and said the game was shit and whatnot, and they pulled that down because she was telling stuff before the game came out. Then you have the Matty Plays situation where he had his footage that he shared with his editor, and then that footage got shared to another party, and then that person or person afterwards shared it with somebody else, and they put it up on the internet, and it got linked back to Matty Plays because of his rook that he created. And then Matty came out and said, yes, that's my footage, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, they're trying to figure out stuff there, right? So there's that drama. There's the review drama. There's people reviewing it now, and I'm not even too sure what the review score is right now. Let me look it up real fast. Right? There's stuff that was in the game. There was stuff in the game that they took out, which is basically, I talked about it this morning. Pirate Nation, okay, posted something earlier today at 8 o'clock this morning, and I posted it in our Discord. And I'll bring it up here just to show people that this is what it was, because it was there. Right here. That's crumbs. Yeah. All right. So let me bring this up. Present, share screen. Where is it? Oh, I can't open it because it's not on there anymore, and it won't let me do Discord. But there's a post from Pirate Nation on Twitter, and when you click on the link, it doesn't open. It's gone. It got pulled from the internet. But it was a Dragon Age Veilguard entire 2-minute long cutscene that basically was lecturing and preaching that if you misgender somebody, okay, and then the person in the cutscene. Did you see this cutscene, Sarge?
I did.
Okay. Does push-ups because they misgender somebody. And this was in the game at one point. It's not in the game anymore, so kudos to them for taking it out. But to get to that point and to bring it put it in the game up until right before it launches, because there are some reviewers that talked about how there's a part in the game that people would have a problem with, but I think they pulled it right before it launched. Okay. Which at that point, then it's just kind of virtual signaling, isn't it? That they put it in there because they wanted to say something, but to lecture you, basically. So what do you make of all of this stuff that's happening with Dragon Age, with the review process and the drama that goes behind what the fantasy, not so much fantasy, but reality into fantasy now?
I'm going to try to keep this one short and sweet. The issue that I have with a lot of this is the fact that the core issue. The core issue is back in the day, before the internet, magazines, businesses, television, right, radio, they were all together. If they wanted something pushed out, if they wanted a narrative driven, if they wanted something to be positive, right, it would be positive. Everything you've ever known since you guys were kids was checked by a box, approved by a committee, and advertised to you directly. They told you what to like. They told you what not to like. They told you how to feel. And you can say it didn't happen to you, but we grew up during that period of time, right? When the internet came out and individuals started getting a voice, they didn't say shit about it. However, once those people who had a voice started pulling in views, where tens of thousands, if not millions of people were watching specific people. So now you have an individual's opinion with a backing of a good chunk of the country or the world, right, listening to them because they value their opinion over time. They worked up trust, right? Once we've established this, those media representation does not control the narrative any longer. Okay? That's the issue. They are not in control of the advertisement and what is yes and what is no to you anymore. It's people who are like you, who you are listening to, who you are getting the opinion from, and they can't control that. That is the issue. So now, even though you knew that was done in the past, you might not have known it, I guess, on paper, but as you get older, you understand how things work. So now that they realize that that's what was done, now they are blatantly doing it in front of you, right, instead of behind the scenes. They are blatantly deciding who gets to say their piece and who doesn't, right? That should concern you. That's the part that concern you. I don't care about the trans part of it. That's a separate conversation.
Right.
I'm speaking about what is now truth and what is not truth. What is now said into the public sphere and what is kept under wraps.
Right.
And since they can't control it, this is how they lash out, right? The lashing out starts with the whole bias. You're sexist, you're racist, white supremacist, whatever ist you want to insert to try to discredit the people who have been giving their opinion probably for the last 10 years. But you noticed, slowly but surely, some of the people that you've been listening to over the years have either gotten cut up, destroyed, canceled, and they're slowly eating away at these people or trying to get rid of them because they want control of the narrative again. And it's just not going to happen. And by censoring these reviews or whatever this little shell game they were playing where 100 people got the code read 100 and it's like 100 codes were given out. I'm just making up numbers, right? And then like 80 or 90 responded, and then they filtered out and decided which 20 or 25 that they were going to use after the fact. How they felt that you might not give a proper score, which, by the way, none of us know what that means because there's no standards of a review. It's just opinion. So they went out of their way to say, we don't know if they're going to give us a proper score, so we're not going to use this particular guy's review. That's not how that works.
Well, Skill Up had a review, and it was very negative. Matty Plays had a review, it was very negative.
But they defend their points. It's
sure. It's not because the game is
because of the specifics. It's because of their overall
the overall thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's they can't prove that they've taken them down, but at the same time, you look at certain things, and look, it's an 84 right now on Metacritic, right? And mind you, I'm a person that doesn't really give a shit about reviews. Like, if the game looks interesting, I'll buy it and play it, okay? But at the same time, I wasn't interested in this game ahead of time because what really not sold it for me is when I listened to Paul Tassi's review, and he loved it, right? He loved it, okay? He gave it like a 9.5 or whatever it was, okay? But during his review, he said that you can't be a bad guy. You can't say anything bad or do anything bad in the game. And I was like, that's what BioWare is. I have a choice to do bad or neutral or good. And in this game, you can't do it, right? And I said, if I was interested in it, that would have sold me not. Now, that was the positive review, and that was one of his negatives of the positive review. And then Skill Up said it, and he said the same thing. And then Maddie said the same thing. And I was like, what is happening? I was like, why is BioWare taking away what BioWare games are as far as decisions, where you could put certain things in the game, but you can't make decisions, right? It just seems like that's not what BioWare is. And like Rocksteady and like many games before it, many studios before it, it's just the game company studio by name, no longer the actual studio making this type of stuff anymore.
That's correct.
And it's disappointing. Right. So I might play this down the road, but I have no interest in this game. And I believe that this game won't even be talked about like 2 weeks from now. It'll just fade away into the relevance, not because you play the single player game, you put it down. I'm talking about just publicly, like popular, like culture. Like, people still talk about Black Myth Wukong and still talk about Starfield, even though Starfield's hated. This game will not be mentioned in any way, shape, or form. They will talk about Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age Inquisition, but they will not bring this game up in the future.
But the issue remains the same, right? The issue is that companies are now spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a project, and they just can't have it fail. Regardless or not, if it's worthy of you purchasing it, they can't have it fail. So they will do whatever it takes in order for that score to say what they need it to say, because that number translates into sales on their sheets, right? An 84 Metacritic game, they already have it written down somewhere. It means X number of sales, right? If Metacritic wasn't so serious, other companies wouldn't tie it to fucking bonuses. Right. Which is also absurd, by the way. That's another conversation that we're never going to have right now. But the fact that they tie bonuses into a Metacritic score, what does that say? Right? If I can control what the Metacritic score says and then promise my team a bonus for a Metacritic score, all I got to do is pay the right people, and that score will never show up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Dustin,
that kind of control has no place in this industry.
Yeah, I know it's going to show up at the Game Awards. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, we talk about games. Like, when you play a game, we talk about Vampire Survivor, right? You talk about Pal World. You're talking about Fallout back in the day. It's a game that you talk about and you just nonstop talk about because it's a good game. Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto. This game is not going to be one of those games. It will fall off faster than everything. People forget when the next thing comes out, right? Like, Stalker 2 comes out next month. People will not be talking about this. Monster Hunter's beta's out right now. People will talk more about the beta than they will talk about this game. Okay, is what I'm saying. Popular culture-wise, overall. All right. Anything else to say on that, Sarge?
Yeah, and one other point for the game by itself, right? If the people who made this game the way it is, and then come out and dictate how we should like the game regardless.
Right.
If a company makes a game, let's use the stereotypical version of this. According to some people, the gaming industry is run by white men. According to some of them. Okay.
Right.
If I acknowledge that as a yes, as truth, let's just say it's true, right? Back in the day, it was run by all white men, which is a lie, but we're going to just say yes. From what I understand, from being alive during this period of time, banger after banger after banger after banger after IP growing and IP growing and other IP growing, and how much millions and billions of dollars are spent and were made based on those IPs that we grew up with, right? So now if you're going to take and say that to us and then try to make a game for a smaller portion of the community and then don't get the results that you want, that's on you.
Right.
If
you're going for the magical unicorn.
If you didn't want to tap into the people that actually like a specific game because of the way it was then, and you want to make a game that you want now, but we don't like that game, that's on you.
Right.
Not that we don't want that game. Right? This notion that people don't ask for a game, like no one asked for that game. A lot of times we don't ever ask for a game. We're hoping for a game that we like that we're going to buy. We hope for one.
And then you hope for the sequel. Right.
We don't walk around demanding a game and then they have to make that game. That's not how it ever worked. It was always, we hoped for a game. But the fact that they're trying to throw this in our face, that it's our fault that they didn't sell, or it's our fault that we don't like something. Well, you didn't go for the crowd that you wanted. You wanted to go for the crowd that you wanted.
Right.
Not that you wanted to sell games to, that you wanted to specifically go to this. And because the rest of us didn't want to buy that game, we're the problem. That's not how that works.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you just look at this podcast, right? If you're not watching this podcast, you're racist and sexist, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not watching this, it's because it's your problem, not mine. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form.
It's disturbing on how they approach it. It's disturbing.
Right. It's like, how do I get more people to watch the show, right? Be more entertaining, do more things, right? That's what I have to do.
But this is why when you look at this kind of release and you look with all the drama around it, you know that somewhere, either the city, the county, the country, or the state, somebody is giving them money to make this game. Because if it was a normal business transaction and you came out with a game that didn't make you a dime, right? Somebody would be fired. The studio would be gone and it would start over. Normal market procedures.
Do you think this game will sell enough copies? Do you think this game will sell enough copies where it stays around, or do you think they're going to hurt and this will be another studio down the road closed?
We're not going to know because, once again, all the numbers can be fudged now. This is the issue, right? If they sold enough games, they always brag about it.
Yeah, they'll scream from the rooftops.
Right. So I would say I would look back at the other Dragon Ages and look at a pretty much an average sales for what they did.
The most,
and if they get close to that, then to them that would be a win, right?
Well, most of them sold 2 to 3 million copies. Inquisition sold 6 million, which is the biggest BioWare game basically ever, I think, right? And then this one I think needs to sell like 4 to 5 million, I believe.
Oh, well, then 84 Metacritic score, and right around the holidays, bro, with Black Friday coming up, I'm assuming people who like those kind of games are probably going to buy it at an 84.
I think it'll make 2 to 3. I don't think it'll make the 6 million. I don't think so. But that's just my thoughts. All right. We're going to go do Q&A. So if you guys have a question you would like to ask us, we have 6 right now. You can submit it. And we'll get there in just a second. All right. So the first question, actually, we only have 3 questions because the other ones are super chats and memberships. Krebsy says, "What's the strangest costume you saw this year?" Strangest costume I saw this. The one I saw it online. I thought it was pretty cool. A kid did it, where he had his legs and they were decapitated from the upper body. I don't know how he did it. I think his body was like sort of like crooked or whatever, but he was like holding the torso next to the lower half, and it was pretty cool looking. That's the one I saw.
I haven't been out to see any, so I can't answer that one.
In person, tonight I saw.
I did see the only one I did see was someone dressed up as a nightstand, and it said on the stand, one nightstand.
Oh, that's a nice one.
His head was the lampshade, and he had all products around the little cardboard box he has, so it looked like a nightstand, one nightstand.
I saw a guy.
It's a dad joke.
He was dressed as the guy from Total Recall with the creature coming out of his belly, but it was him, and he had his infant son, on his front, and he had his arms and stuff coming out of the shirt.
Guado? His little infant son was Guado?
Yes, it was. I walked up to him and I said, "That's a great costume, right?"
I'm sure his wife wasn't too happy about that, but that's hilarious.
I mean, he didn't make his kid like look that way, but
I know, but I'm still saying.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. So that's the one I saw. Krebsy also says, do you think BioWare will be making big adjustments to Mass Effect 5 after Veilguard, or does BioWare just get closed? Yeah, this is a question basically I was asking right at the end. I think if this game bombs...
Even if Mass Effect 5 come out, do you think you're going to want to buy it?
Well, I think if this game bombs, Mass Effect is the last draw. If it bombs so bad, like we're talking like Concord bad, okay, we don't even get to Mass Effect. Mass Effect 5 doesn't even come out. It just stops. BioWare stops and doesn't exist anymore, which would be a sad day.
Well, I can't be sad. You mentioned it earlier, and even you mentioned it during your day shows. A lot of these companies are a name alone. There are countless stories about how senior staff has either left or been fired and replaced with people who are not as skilled, right? And I'm not sure you guys understand how this works, but in a country of merit is where the best person for the job gets it. And the ones who are there usually end up being better. And of course, the ones who are better get paid more. That's how it goes. In this topsy-turvy world, we're now told that anyone's allowed to work as long as you check off a box,
right?
Regardless of how good they are. And I'll just keep firing people until I get the guy cheap enough, and then we'll just work on however we're going to work on it. And you don't get the quality anymore. So this is what we are. Every name that you liked as you were growing up for games that you bought, those people don't exist. It's just the name.
Right.
The people that built that IP from the ground up
gone. Yeah.
are gone.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody mentions an IP that you like, unless you see names on the list that were there when a game that you liked was there, don't count on that game being anything close to what you knew. Because the actual skill of the people working there is not there.
Well, this is the same thing I talk about with sports analogies, right? Your championship team that won the Super Bowl or won the hockey championship or the World Series, the next year, it's not the same team. Most of them go away. They find free agents. They bring in the same name, still the championship team from last year, but it's a completely different crew. Okay, so that's exactly what happens. It's just the studio by just the name itself. Okay. Next question. Altern says, what Xbox and PlayStation IP that is dead, if they bring back, would make $1 billion? Exaggeration, but you know what I mean. You can choose only one. What Xbox, PlayStation IP, if they bring back, could basically be successful? That's a good question. I'm trying to think of one. I'm trying to think of a game they could, like, it's still around, but they change it up.
Hang on.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you make a Castlevania game like a God of War, you know what I mean? Like something like that, I think could do very well. Do you know what I'm saying? Where the IP is still around, but they just change it completely. Sort of like a Grand Theft Auto into or God of War, where they completely change the dynamic of what the game is. I think Bully. I think Bully can come out for Rockstar. If they made another Bully, I think that could do really well and be really successful if they did it correctly.
This is
is my choice.
This is a tough one. I'm sure I'll come up with one later. I don't have it. They're rattling around in my head, but I don't have one right at the tip of my tongue because I'm going through all the dead IP.
Castlevania lives in this. I was gonna say SOCOM, Eric, but I really don't think SOCOM would make a big dent because this saturation point is too high right now with just multiplayer games. I don't think it would. Splinter Cell, I love Splinter Cell, man. I love a good Splinter Cell, but I don't think it would make it right now. Not with Ubisoft right now. It wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't have one on deck. I'd have to think about it seriously.
All right, well. And then all turns. Next question is, do you think Sony will give Concord Universe to another studio, like rename the brand but use the universe? From the talk of what they wanted to do as far as comic books, TV show, movies, animated series, I can see them doing something where they don't call it Concord, but they use that universe. I can see them doing that. Obviously, they don't call it Concord. They just use the same characters. Maybe they try a different universe, take the same story, make new characters. You know what I'm saying? Repurpose them in a certain way. Completely. Here's what they could do. Completely change the characters. Make them better looking characters overall. But don't call it Concord. Same characters, same universe. Make a different show. Call it something different. I think they could do it.
No.
Sarge's like, nope, that's it. Not gonna happen. You don't think they would do it?
I'll let you have this. One of those characters will appear in a different game because it's going to go into public domain someplace, and someone's going to pull the character and use it for something else. But otherwise than that, no.
I think they just reworked the entire character.
Yeah.
Yeah, repurpose the character, but the same lore.
I would not be surprised if you saw one of those main characters as an NPC in another game.
No, I'm not even saying like make the game come out with PvP or move it to PvE. I'm talking about take the story of Concord, make it a television show, right? But take the characters and just completely change them so they don't look like the Concord characters. It's the Concord story that we don't know what it is because we haven't seen it, right? Like whatever they had planned for Concord, you just repurpose that story, the exact same story, just repurpose it with better looking characters. I think they can make a comic book. I think they can make the story for it. Yeah. Not even talking about a game. Krebsy says, do you think the group of Bungie people who moved to Sony to overlook live service games as part of the decision to close Firewalk Studios since Bungie moved a week or two before close? Do you think the group of Bungie people who moved from Sony to overlook live service games as part of the decision? No, I don't think they were. I think Bungie's, if they were, in this scenario, Krebsy, if Bungie was there, then they okayed it, right? They okayed Concord to move out ahead if they brought him in to observe that. And if they did, then those people need to get fired because Concord was an absolute clusterfuck from the start when they showed it in May. And for them to not know that something was wrong with the game and just refuse to say, no, we're going full steam ahead, I think if it is that Bungie was there ahead of time, then someone at Bungie needs to get fired as well because that's a lot of money.
No one's going to get fired. That's the scary part. No one's going to get fired. I'm sure there are people that cross over, Krebsy. I'm sure there are people that are in both parties who had something to do with it, and it doesn't even matter, right? Because it doesn't seem like something that would just come out of left field. It seems planned. It seems that a mistake was made, but they followed through with it anyway. Otherwise, something like that would have been picked up a little earlier, and something could have been changed. But they went through with it, which means it was intentional.
Right. That's the big thing. They intentionally did what they did. All right. That's going to do it for us today for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast. It goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. 416 is in the can. We do appreciate you very much. Leading out, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that. Become a member as little as $5. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. And to close out the show, we're going to let you listen. We're going to let you listen to Parson. Let me see if I can... let me see if I have... Yeah, we'll put this up. I'm not going to put Parson back up on the screen. Actually, I can. We're going to put this up on the screen and play it out, and then the show will end. So if you missed the song from earlier, here is the here is the song for Pete Parson Carson. All right, hold on one second. Let me get this. Pete Parson Carson.
From Teslas to old school rides galore, still working at Bungee Buddies out for more. Pete Parson Carson in a car buying spree, but destiny's calling, he's gotta be free. Oh, Pete Parson Carson rolling down the road, the car's stacking high, but he still ain't go mode. Go Pete, go, save some room for Bungee. From Teslas to old school rides galore, still working at Bungee Buddies out for more. Pete Parson Carson in a car buying spree, but destiny's calling, he's gotta be free. Oh, Pete Parson Carson rolling down the road, the car's stacking high, but he still ain't go mode. Go Pete, go, let's make some room for Bungee.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next show. Thanks for watching.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combine, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X.